What's going on? What's going on? A-pluses, nerd mixers alike. It is your boy, Nerd Mix Alpha himself, Indy Uchiha. Adam couldn't be with us today, so he tagged me, and I had to do it. I think he had too much going on, with the Royal Rumble and everything going on. He decided to relax, take that time off. You know what I'm saying? They came after that, and I went ahead and just tagged in, the tag team partner here. But I'm not here alone. As always, we're with the number 2 host on there. You know what I'm saying? We can't do nothing without the man, Stewart.
What's up?
What's going on, Stewart?
Man, not much. Just usual stuff, but good to have you back on the show, Indy.
Nah, it feels good. I feel like I haven't been off of work on a Sunday in forever.
Now you got a Sunday off, and we get to talk about nerd shit all day. How great is that?
I wouldn't have it any other way.
Other
way. Would not, man. What's been good with you, brother?
Not much, man. Just kind of same stuff at work. Work's been, it's been work, not great, but not terrible. And had an amazing last vacation during December. Basically, just took some time off of work, spent some time with the family, and it's just been incredibly relaxing. I feel ready to face the world again.
That's what it do, man. We got a lot of people joining us today. We got Enrique Perez. Says he just saw the trailer for the live action for the Airbender. He also saw Pixar's Turning Red is coming to theaters for the first time. That's cool. Some Deadpool 3. We're gonna get in all of that. Ram Jam's in here. Johnny Moreno, I hope I pronounced that right, is up in here too. We appreciate y'all checking in, tapping in with us, seeing what's going on. But you know how we do. What's the first thing we jump off with? I forgot. I forgot how to run this. Isn't it like things we're into? Hot top.
Honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions. Honorable mentions.
All right, so I got I had 2 honorable mentions originally, but I can see one of them is a topic that we're going to be talking about later. One that was also, oh shoot, am I frozen?
Yeah, you're frozen. Don't worry about it. Keep talking.
Oh, okay, but you can still hear me?
Yeah, I still hear you.
Okay, cool. Wow, my face froze at the worst time. My computer is still kind of freezing up a bit, but anyway, so it looks like one of the topics I was talking about is going to be actually a main topic, so I don't really need to cover it as an honorable mention. So the other thing I will talk about, this is something really bizarre that I have stumbled upon recently. So I mentioned, I believe 2 weeks ago, that I was getting back into the game Yu-Gi-Oh! And because of that, I had looked up a few Yu-Gi-Oh! Videos in the past on YouTube. So now my YouTube algorithm has been suggesting me a bunch of different Yu-Gi-Oh! Videos. So there was one video in particular that is suggested to me that I clicked on just out of pure curiosity. And the title of this video was Barack Obama versus Gordon Ramsay in Yu-Gi-Oh! And I knew this was going to be an AI video, but I didn't care. I'm like, okay, that's too hilarious to not watch. And what blew my mind about this, Indy, was that it wasn't a one-off thing. The moment I clicked on the video, it starts with a previously on section, and through this previously on section, I learn a few things about this world that's being created in this celebrity duel tournament, as it's called. Keep in mind, what I'm going to describe to you guys is going to sound like it's a political series. It is not. It just happens to use politicians as like the main characters. This is not political at all. Let me just say that right now. But it all started when, I catch from the first video, it all starts when Barack Obama defeats Donald Trump in a Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournament, in a Yu-Gi-Oh! Match. Donald Trump gets humiliated and then decides to run his own Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournament. And through this, there's a side plot where some scientists are building an AI robot. This AI robot comes to life, watches Avengers Age of Ultron, and decides that Ultron was right and he wants to take over the world, but he's fascinated by everyone's obsession with Yu-Gi-Oh! So he decides to give humanity a chance by entering Donald Trump's tournament, and if anyone can beat him, he will cease. And through this, Mike Tyson ends up losing his spot. So to get his spot back, he has to beat Santa Claus in a duel first and then beat Ultron in a duel. And this is just like some of the weird stuff. This series has so much other weird things that goes on in it. So like I'll screen share the lineup of different duelists real quick if I can share my screen. I think there's a screen share button. I just got to share the channel so I can also share like the different people who are dueling in this series.
No problem at all. That's present. It's the present button at the bottom.
Oh, here we go. I see it now.
Yeah, then share screen.
Yes. Yeah. I just did that. What the heck? Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay, so this is the channel. So here's the lineup. Like the first match is Elon Musk versus Donald Trump. Second is Daenerys Targaryen versus Hillary Clinton. Third is Kanye West versus Star-Lord. Then it's Dr. Phil versus Darth Vader. Joe Biden versus Bill Clinton. Ben Shapiro versus Ultron. Snoop Dogg versus Joe Rogan. Barack Obama versus Gordon Ramsay, which is, of course, the first one of them that I saw. Mike Tyson versus Santa Claus. Then Mike Tyson versus Ultron. And then we finish it off with the most recent one, which came out yesterday, and that is Darth Vader versus Darkseid. Like I said, this series is ongoing, and it is again the weirdest. The lore in this series is deeper than it has any right to be, and it is just freaking hilarious and fantastic. And I highly recommend checking it out. Even though the voices are all done with AI, the writing is way too creative to have been done by AI. So it's clearly like written by someone who just, just had a funny idea and just committed to it. So highly recommend this channel. Even if you're not like a Yu-Gi-Oh fan, it's just if you're into WWE and you love really weird fan fiction, this is the channel for you. It is the funniest channel I think I have ever stumbled upon.
Definitely. I think that's going to be my that's going to be the tunnel I go down tonight at work. That's why I pay for YouTube Red, so I can download the videos and I don't have to worry about being connected to anything, and I could just watch them. I'm going to download everyone and check that out because that seems interesting.
Yes.
we got Marcelino checking in. And the Scene and Nerd podcast, if you guys have not checked them out, they have some amazing reviews, topics, and conversation for some of the best shows that are out right now. I get a lot of my intel from them. I validate a lot of my opinions by listening to their podcast. So you guys should definitely go check that out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Will's Star Trek reviews. If you watch his, because I was keeping track of his Strange New World reviews as they were coming out. Awesome reviews.
Yeah, they had some amazing content over there, and I think one of the reasons why I like it so much is because they actually take their time with it. It's not like they're just churning out content for clicks and views. They're actually formulating opinions. You know what I'm saying? Validating the opinions that they're formatting, and actually putting, you know what I'm saying, good structured content and stuff out there.
Exactly.
Give me 1 second. My kitty just unplugged my my laptop.
Oh no. Oh wait, just laptop. So it's got a little charge. At least it's not a computer where if that gets unplugged, the whole thing shuts down. So in the meantime, oh, never mind. I think he's back. Maybe not. All right. So in the meantime, every time I say that, his face appears again. Oh, what is MegCon? Is that like I don't know what that is. You know what? In the meantime, I'm going to look up what MegCon is because I actually don't know. MegCon or in Orlando. Ooh, okay. So it looks like just kind of another. Okay. So we got some cool celebrities going to this one. We got Tom Hiddleston, Ewan McGregor, Ki Kwan from The Goonies, and of course, most recently Loki. Also, if no one has seen this movie, he's also in Everything Everywhere All at Once, which I still say was the most incredible movie that came out. I believe it was either 2021 or 2022. Ooh, Hayden Christensen and Michael J. Fox are also going to be here. Okay, even some awesome voice actors. We got yeah, the guy that voices Peter Parker from the Spider-Man games. We got Ahsoka herself also arriving. We got Miles Morales' voice actor. And then the guy from Shameless who was in Jedi Fallen Order, Cameron Monaghan? Yeah, Cameron Monaghan. Oh, I think you're muted. Still muted. Yep, still muted. Is your thing unplugged? I just realized if anyone's just like listening to an audio version of this, they're probably going to be really confused right now.
How about now?
Oh, now I hear you. Now I hear you.
Yeah. One thing I want to let you guys know: cats are the devil. He literally just unplugged everything on me.
Oh my
Came
gosh.
back up. So I don't know this game he playing with me. I think he works for another podcast and he's just trying to make sure that we don't get back to the level we was at before. So it's cool. It's cool. He's working for the ops. I get it. I get it.
Cats are the devil.
Yeah.
There was someone brought up like kind of a funny point about cats. So dogs, they think of humans as gods, right? So dogs will like kiss your ass because they think that they have to. Cats are smart because they know that we're not gods. They know, yeah, they can do more than us, but they're still just stupid animals.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. Well, thank you. Well, that was the MegCon lineup, right?
Yeah.
Well, thank Marcelino for my honorable mention. Everybody, if you're in the area, go check out the MegCon. I'll just steal that from him as my honorable mention right there. So that works for me. Appreciate you on that. But are you ready to get into the ish?
Oh, definitely. Let's do it.
All right, definitely. Man, there is a lot going on with Sony and Marvel today, as we know. Marvel's been on kind of the downturn as people think. I don't think it's as bad as most people think they is. I think we're just spoiled, you know what I'm saying, as fanfare. But it seems that Marvel and Sony might be having issues with each other, which is bad.
Nothing new though.
Nothing new at all. Just having issues, you know what I'm saying, like they normally do, but whatever. Right here from comicbook.com, Marvel Studios and Sony are at odds for the Spider-Man 4 storyline. This is interesting to me, guys, because it seems like as of late, like anything that they did together seemed to be going pretty good, but I think maybe Sony just feels like they could do it better. A new rumor claims that Sony wants another multiverse Spider-Man movie, while Marvel Studios and Tom Holland, keyword, and Tom Holland want to keep things grounded. Sony Pictures and Marvel Studios are rumored to have different ideas about where to take Tom Holland's Spider-Man following the commercial success of 2021 Spider-Man No Way Home. According to Insider, Daniel Richmond via comicbookmovie.com, Sony wants to replicate some of No Way Home's box office glory by making Spider-Man 4 another huge multiverse adventure. The studio reportedly also wants to bring back Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's respective Spider-Mans for another crossover with Holland's Wallcrawler. However, Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige and Holland are eager for Spider-Man 4 to be more grounded, similar to the first two entries of Holland's Spider-Man trilogy. Richmond also mentions that Wilson Fisk's Kingpin, who was amazing in Echo, is set to appear in the Spider-Man 4, but Vincent D'Onofrio has not yet entered talks to reprise the role. This lines up with comments recently made by D'Onofrio, who claimed that he had not yet been contacted by Marvel to appear in Spider-Man 4 or an Avengers movie. I think if the powers that be want that to happen, then it will happen, you know. I think there certainly hasn't been any kind of talk that is not going to happen, the actor shared earlier this month. I mean, to me, that's the direction that we should go in. But who knows? You know, we get these calls and they're like, oh, we're doing this show. I'm like, okay, you know, it's like that. Um, talking about what's going on with this situation with Spider-Man, with them not, you know what I'm saying, agreeing on how they want to go with it. It seems that the storyline, as far as what's going on, should be more grounded. I feel like the last movie set this up to go back to your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man and not have to deal with the whole ordeal of carrying a multiverse again. So I understand what Holland and Marvel is coming from, but I can't blame Sony for seeing dollar signs after that last movie and wanting to recreate that. What do you think?
No, I 100% agree with you. Because yeah, I think that with the way the last movie ended, we had one of the biggest live action Spider-Man movies you could have possibly asked for. You got the previous two live action Spider-Mans coming in, and then you also had the whole multiverse involved. You involved old school villains. Like, it was as big as you could have possibly gone with a Spider-Man movie if we're sticking to the realm of live action. So I think that if you're trying to one up it, that's not really going to happen. You're not going to be able to one up it, and even if you somehow can, it's not going to be like as impactful as it was, because it happening for the first time is what made everyone really excited for this movie. If we had gotten this in Spider-Man 1, or Spider-Man Homecoming, I'm sure would have gotten the same response. But if we got this again in Spider-Man, Far From Home, if it was the same thing, no one would have cared as much the first time. I think that, I think I'm with Marvel's side that, like, it is smart to change it up, because if you keep going with the same route, eventually audiences are going to get tired of it and they're just not going to care. And here's the other thing that they have against them, and this is why I can kind of see both sides in Sony's perspective, because on the one hand, in the last several years, most of Sony's most successful movies have all been multiverse movies, because you got Spider-Man No Way Home, and then of course you have the Spider-Man Across and Into the Spider-Verse movies. Those were definitely Sony's like more successful ones. So it makes sense that producers at Sony that just don't really know much about storytelling, cough cough Abby Arad, would just look at it as, hey, multiverse movie do good money first time, it going to do good money second time, and third time and fourth time and fifth time. But I think, like, the reason it's a bad idea to do another multiverse Spider-Man movie is because not only did we already get one with Tom Holland, but we still currently have a trilogy of multiverse Spider-Man movies going on by Sony as well, with the Into, Across, and Beyond the Spider-Verse movies. So I really don't think going back to the multiverse, especially when audiences have kind of made it clear that, like, multiverses is being overplayed now, I don't think it's a good idea. I can kind of see why some producers at Sony would see it that way, but I'm definitely leaning more towards Kevin Feige and Tom Holland in this case, where I think taking a more grounded approach to the next Spider-Man movie would be a great way to take it into a different direction, therefore keep audiences guessing. And the other thing too is, if you go that route, you don't have to spend as much money on it, so you don't need as big of a profit, from the box office. So even if this movie doesn't do the numbers that you want it to, you still get a good amount of money to make a sequel where you can go back to the multiverse if you want to. Just don't do two multiverse movies, back to back, unless that's the whole theme of your, trilogy, like with the case of the Into the Spider-Verse, series. But yeah, that's kind of like how I look at it. So personally, make him somewhat grounded. And yes, Vincent D'Onofrio, we love you as Kingpin. I just finished Echo last night, actually. He's just as good as he was in Daredevil. So I would love to see, him coming back with that energy, to the Spider-Man franchise.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that, especially with your comments on Vincent, because he was just as good as in Daredevil. I even feel like the character's a little bit more fleshed out. Like, he knows more who the character is, whether it's mannerisms, the way he speaks, you know what I'm saying, how he feels about a situation. I feel like the character's a lot more conflicted now than what he was for, but it's like a controlled crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like he knows what's going on. One of the best things about Echo, did you happen to do your Echo score?
Oh, not yet. I will get around to that very soon.
I was trying to see if we can get a leak here. You know what I'm saying? Because I know, like, it's either good or bad. Like, we're on opposite ends in the chat on, you know what I'm saying, how good Echo actually was. So I'm very curious to your personal opinion on that.
For me,
Uh,
I personally loved Echo as a series.
Yeah, I thought it was.
It was the last episode that I just thought was okay, very very it kind of felt like they just wrapped everything up way too fast, but I kind of expected that because the last episode is also only like 37 minutes.
Mm-hmm. I feel like the last two episodes could have just ran as one complete episode. Like they felt like they were just trying to get one more episode out, and they just could have just ran them together. Could have just been one long, you know what I'm saying, finale. That's
Yeah.
what I have wrong with it. But let's see what else we got going on over here. It also states that Spider-Man No Way Home, like we talked about, ended with Doctor Strange erasing everyone's memories of Peter Parker to protect the multiverse, with no one or company, Stark Industries, to turn to following the massive change. Audience saw the Marvel Cinematic Universe's Peter Parker become closer to his comic book version, living in a cheap apartment and sewing his comic accurate Spider-Man suit. I love that suit, by the way. The film's final moments saw Peter resume his role as a vigilante and as a friendly neighborhood wall crawler, which many fans saw as a tease for a grounded New York-based Spider-Man 4. Come to find out, another multiversal movie with Madam Web. Tom Holland was almost in Madam Web as Spider-Man fans saw Holland reprise the role in Sony's Madam Web. Insider Jeff Snyder recently reported there were plans to place Holland Spider-Man to appear in Madam Web, but that any reference to the character was moved during reshoots. Before Holland, Sony wanted Garfield to cameo as Spider-Man, but those plans were also scrapped. Madam Web is the fourth installment in Sony's Spider-Man universe, a franchise that has yet to feature the wall crawler in any significant capacity.
I
Now,
feel like that happens in every Sony project. They're always like, "Oh, we actually have Tom Holland coming to reprise his role in this movie," only for then 1 minute later, okay, no, he's not going to be in it. Like Venom, we had that Tom Holland's going to be in Venom. Okay, he's not going to be in Venom. Morbius.
Mhm.
Oh, Spider-Man's going to be mentioned in Venom. Nah, Spider-Man only gets brought up in the after credit scene.
Yeah, I don't get it. I honestly I think I would have liked the Andrew Garfield appearance in Madam Web, and like let Madam Web take place, you know what I'm saying, in and on another Earth, and not, and all this stuff doesn't have to be linked to Tom Holland Spider-Man. If you want to use they could very easily use Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, and Tom Holland at the same time, you know, just base them on different Earths, and then build to your multiverse movie. You know what I'm saying? Let them be grounded, separate. Well, I think Andrew's Spider was a less grounded. You know what I'm saying? But let us have our three different versions of Spider-Man, and then you could convert, you know what I'm saying, combine them for your Secret Wars or your Battle World, you know what I'm saying, whatever you want to do then to bring them back in, or however you want to handle it. So that'd be interesting to me on how they wanted to handle that. But Marcelino says my least favorite part of Echo was the inclusion of powers, and some of the pacing felt slow. I personally would have had Echo unite the town and exile Kingpin in that way.
Yeah.
I get it. I totally feel that, and that might have been something that I would have rocked with too, as far as that is. But I think the key point was her not being able to, because everybody didn't know ASL in that town. It seemed like only her family, you know what I'm saying, knew ASL. So I think it would have been kind of hard for her to be able to do that. You know what I'm saying? As that quick as a character who's only been there, who really isn't a part of their culture. You know what I'm saying? But coming back and learning about the culture, I think for something like that, it would have took a couple of more episodes of her bonding, you know what I'm saying, with the townsfolk, because you never really even saw her interacting with the townsfolk. It was just immediate family. So I
And
think
even
that
then, there were still family members she was avoiding.
facts. And the pacing, I think the pacing felt slow because it was coming from her perspective and how she was taking things in. You know, so I think that's why I went. I think if they would have stayed more with other characters and built up different characters the same way to build that ensemble cast a little bit better, I think that's where they missed on, is that there was so many other interesting characters that we didn't spend too much time with. If they would have actually did that and fleshed that out, I think the pacing would have felt a little different. But I've really just looked at the show as coming from her perspective and her perspective only, you know, and how she would look at going through that short time frame, you know what I'm saying, day to day. That's the way.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I appreciate you seeing the Nerd Podcast. They're jumping off Facebook, jumping over to YouTube. We appreciate all the YouTube love, you know what I'm saying? post a lot more. We post a lot of stuff on both, but hey, we want them YouTube numbers up too. I heard Andrew Garfield only wants to work with Marvel and has no interest in Sony because he knows their reputation.
Yeah, I mean, what other what other kind of company is going to fire their movie star because he missed a meeting because he was sick, you know?
Yeah. I agree with that. And I can see that. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you want to work for Sony? If Marvel wasn't involved with Spider-Man, I don't think Tom Holland would still be Spider-Man.
Oh no, since he was the one that kind of brought them back together through a drunk voice message, apparently.
Yeah. For everything that Disney gets wrong, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to Star Wars, Marvel, and different stuff like that, they do get this type of stuff right. You know, like people do want to work with them. They do want to be a part of things. So just let Marvel do Marvel. Like Sony, just put the movies out. Let Marvel do everything else.
Just put your name on it. You know, you get all the credit, you get all the money. Just let them actually take care of the work.
Yeah,
there.
that's all. That's all you got to do, and you'll be making money hand over fist all the time. You can slap Spider-Man on anything. I don't care if it was a movie and Tom Holland was just sitting there making different types of coffee in a Spider-Man costume. It's going to make $1 billion. All right. We'll get one more comment before we move on. We'll get two more. They said thank you again for the kind words at the beginning. If you all didn't see it, you don't have to thank for the truth. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing that we are here. It may be our opinion, but we're honest with it. You never have to thank us for the truth. We appreciate all the support you guys give us, and we're gonna give it right back to you. So don't even worry about it. Last comment before we move on. Everyone on the internet, no one has nice things to say about Madam Web. Everyone has been making memes and wanting to bomb because they want the shitomatic universe to end. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm personally not interested in Madam Web, but I don't think it's gonna be a bad movie. I think if it wasn't attached to the Spider-Man universe, and it was just like a movie they were making about superpowered heroines, you know what I'm saying? It would be way better off. It's going to get compared to everything that Marvel and DC and all that did, and Sony doesn't have a good track record for solo movies, at all. You know, Venom, that other vampire movie we don't talk about. I don't even say the name of it anymore.
It's morbid time.
But you got me with that one. But I'm actually looking at this to be good because of the cast. Because of the cast and the theme of the movie, I think I don't think it's going to be a blockbuster, but I think it's going to be a good film to watch.
All I'm going to say is that it's Terminator, but with spider-powered people. And if you can't turn that into a good movie, wow, that is just depressing. I mean, I feel like anyone with that concept can make a good movie out of that. So here's hoping. My fingers are crossed for this movie. I'm kind of rooting for Madam Web to do as well as I want it to. When it comes to Kraven the Hunter, I don't really think I have any expectations for that movie, like good or bad. I'm just going to see it, not expecting anything. But with Madam Web, I do have a little hope for this one. I think they have a very creative idea. And it just depends on whether or not they have as much fun with it as they can.
I said that was the last comment, but I got to get this in. It just feels undercooked and worrisome that we haven't got another trailer so close to the movie.
True.
I'm thinking. I'm honestly thinking because I think there's not too much to the movie, and if they give us another trailer, that they'll probably give us the entire movie away. So I think they're just banking on word of mouth for seeing what happens. I don't even think they think the movie is going to make that much. I think they just want to flesh out this universe more so they can just get to whatever endpoint that they had that they made. Let's just get to whatever y'all are trying to do and leave it alone, because you're doing Madam Web and different stuff like that when there's there's different stories that you could have went back and told the history of the symbiotes and you know what I'm saying, everything else to build up to something in the future, to a confrontation with Null, like we had the confrontation with Thanos, or like we're finna have the confrontation with Kang. It's so much other stuff you could have been doing, and I feel bad for Dakota Johnson's here because she might just be cashing in a check, but this is a role that could have catapulted her out of the whole sexual being, you know what I'm saying, typecast that she's been getting. This could have been her out from people only knowing her from a couple of things. You know what I'm saying? So same thing with Sydney Sweeney. You know what I'm saying? Like that, like these ladies are typecast into a certain role, and this could have been like the whole breakout thing for me.
The prediction I have for this movie, though, okay, I was like looking up the actress. I totally forgot she was in 50 Shades of Grey. So that's what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully, if this movie is good, it definitely helps them like break the typecasting. My prediction for this movie, though, is that it's going to end with essentially basically like all these women are trying to protect Peter Parker from this, Spider-Man villain, but Peter Parker's like either hasn't been born yet or he's like an infant. And I think it's going to end with Uncle Ben realizing that there's nowhere in this universe that's safe for him. So he takes him to a new universe because this is all in the early 2000s, right? So if he takes him to a new universe, that new universe could be the MCU. And then that could be the origin of where Tom Holland Spider-Man comes from. And so therefore, if Sony ever wants him back in his universe, they have an explanation for why he needs to come back, like saying, hey, technically this version was part of our universe originally.
Thank you for that, Blossom. We really appreciate that, man. Yes, you can go to YouTube and give us money so that we could buy fancy stuff to be able to do better podcasts.
In order to get these amazing mics here.
Yeah. I'm not as like sugarcoating as Adam is. I'm like, pay us so that we could do better. that is actually a whole concept, I believe, that we could break down into a totally different video, because that's an amazing concept. So what if the whole thing, Uncle Ben died? Like what if Uncle Ben's death is really because he was keeping Peter Parker safe because he knew what he was going to be in the future? Like he knew who Peter was going to be.
Yeah.
And what if that's the whole "with great power comes great responsibility" line comes from, is because he knew who Peter was going to be in the future.
Bro, oh my God! If that's how it ends, like with him, like giving Peter to Aunt May, and from the MCU, and being like, he'll have a lot of power when he grows up, and with that power is going to come responsibility, and those are his like dying words, like to Aunt May, and so that's why she passes those words on to Peter, because then it'll be as if Uncle Ben passed those words on to Peter in the MCU. Then
and then like, what if through the whole MCU you're getting like these tidbits where somebody's like dropping like a note to Tony Stark for him to go find Peter Parker, like different stuff, like it's being set up the whole time. Bro, what if it's Kang?
Oh my gosh, Kang is the one who, oh my gosh, if Kang needs Spider, which would make sense because Kang knows how smart Spider-Man is, so it makes sense that he would want to use that, for his own like whatever, like plan he has.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, we could break this all down to a whole nother theory. Let's do that later. Let's talk to Adam about that and like get something cooking with that later. That's dope. Okay, this is really the last thing. It may surprise like the first Venom or Aquaman box office wise, but the world and movie going habits have changed for obvious reasons. Yeah, I think this is something where even if it'll do okay at the box office, depending on what else is going on. You know what I'm saying, in the world. But I think this would be something that would just kill streaming. Like if this movie was going straight to Paramount or HBO Max, you know what I'm saying, like something like that, I think it would just kill streaming. Like people but people don't want to do that. They want to be back at the movies, and they don't understand that the impact of stuff going straight to streaming is pretty good. I mean, look what it did for Code 8.
That is true.
So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But let's hope Madam Web does good, and let's hope Sony listens to Marvel, because Marvel obviously knows what they're talking about when it comes to this type of stuff. But keeping it in the MCU, man, my heart hurt really bad when we found out that we weren't getting Steven, you know what I'm saying, as Sentry. A lot of people were against it because the way he looked or whatever like that. I was for it. You know what I'm saying? I love Invincible. I love Walking Dead. I love what was the other one? The Netflix joint he was on.
Beef
Beef was amazing. I was really looking forward to seeing what he could do with this role, but as we know, because of time constraints and different stuff that was going on, he stepped down. But we may have his replacement. And I'm curious to see if something like this is actually going to work out. As reported on Hollywood Reporter, Marvel's Thunderbolts sees Lewis Pullman as top choice to replace Steven Yeun. Pullman is coming off work in Lessons of Chemistry and was among the cast of Top Gun Maverick, which was one of my top movies, you know what I'm saying, of that year when it came out. I think it's really dope. But let's go in here and see what they're talking about with this. Lewis Pullman may be getting a joke, courtesy of Marvel Studios. The Top Gun Maverick actor is Marvel's top choice to replace star in Thunderbolts, and has an offer for the role vacated by Steven Yeun earlier this month. Marvel and reps for Pullman did not respond to requests for comment. Yeun was attached to the Thunderbolts in February 2023, though Marvel did not officially announce his casting. Both on January 2nd, news broke that the Oscar-nominated actor was departing the project centering on Marvel's villain and anti-heroes. Thunderbolts hit delays due to writers and actors strike of 2023, which is the release date pushed a year to July 2025. The film has a cast. I don't know what's going on with my reading today. The film has a cast that includes Florence Pugh, oh, I love her. Sebastian Stan, oh, I love him. David Harbour, oh, I love him too. Wyatt Russell, oh, he's amazing. And Julia Louis-Dreyfus, who is just like been my crush since Seinfeld. With Jake Schreier directing the feature, which has not yet begun filming. Pullman is the son of actor Bill Pullman, played Lieutenant Bob Floyd in Top Gun Maverick, the 1.5 billion with a B box office juggernaut. Other notable credits include Bad Times at the El Royale and TV series Outer Range. He recently starred in Lessons in Chemistry, opposite Marvel star, my baby, Brie Larson, where he played her character's love interest. I was very jealous of that. Chemistry researcher Calvin Ellis.
I've seen the first episode of that series, only because that was the only episode available from Apple TV since I need to renew our account on that. So far, not a bad show. I did find it hilarious because I didn't know until watching this series that running for fun was not a thing until like the 70s or 80s. So you have his character who likes to do like morning jogs, and everyone like thinks he's like the weirdest person for it. Whereas like now, like that happens all the time. Everyone, well, not everyone, but you know, a lot of people do that now.
Well, I'm gonna check it out because the phone company that I'm with offer like the Apple One package for like $5 a month. So I got like Apple TV and Apple Music and stuff like that. So I'm gonna check out a lot of these shows that are on Apple that a lot of people been talking about. So with what this guy has done so far, which I know some of it. I know some of what he's been in. Like I said, I love Top Gun Maverick. I love the role he played in Top Gun Maverick. How do you feel about this casting as compared to the Steven Yeun casting?
Oh man. I can kind of see why you would go from Steven Yeun to Lewis Pullman. And if the character of Sentry, if you're going for like kind of a very specific looks harmless kind of thing, but like could actually be like a lot stronger, a lot more than meets the eye type of a character, if that makes sense. I think that both him and Steven Yeun could play that type of character really well. So if that's what they're going for with Sentry, then I think that's some good casting there. My thing, and I brought this up when we talked about the original article about Steven Yeun leaving the MCU, and that is I don't know enough about Sentry to have an opinion on like whether or not it's good casting for that character. To me, with how like fast he was casted and then how fast he was replaced, when we originally read the article, it almost sounded like Sentry was meant to be like a very small role in the movie compared to everything else, and that they were just kind of looking to cast just to get it done, just to get a big name out there, not necessarily to find someone who's good for the role. But now, kind of like seeing the two actors that they have in mind for this character, I do think that may not be true. They may have a very specific type of thing that they're looking for, and that thing being, of course, what I just mentioned, the looks harmless on the outside but can actually be a lot more powerful if you push his buttons the wrong way or something like that. So I do think this is going to be interesting casting, depending on what direction they take with Sentry. But I really should just read a comic book with Sentry so I know what to expect.
Yeah, Sentry is a beast. Sentry and the Void. Very good storylines when they're entered into it, but it's one of them characters that is so powerful. It's like it's kind of like a Superman thing. Too powerful to know what to do with, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying, type deal, and shouldn't lose in the situations, you know what I'm saying, that he lost. But this cast is top notch. From top to bottom as far as like superhero world goes. Like each character nailed, you know what I'm saying, the role that they had been announced, you know what I'm saying, for this film and for the Thunderbolts. Um, looks wise, I think this fits better. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So I'm curious to seeing if he signs on, or maybe depending on how casting and stuff's gonna go, maybe there's gonna be an issue with, you know, like a Top Gun Maverick 2 or something like that. That he's not gonna be able to, you know, take the role. I would like to see it, but if not him, then who?
Ooh, what's another actor I think could can't think of anyone at the on the top of my head right now, but I'm sure I'll think of someone later on.
I have a random name that
All
I'm
right,
gonna throw out there.
let's hear it.
Um and I don't know how people are gonna feel about this. While I get this in my head on how to say this, so y'all don't trash me. Marcelino says Comic Drake did a great breakdown on Sentry, which you could check out if you're interested, Stuart.
I do like Comic Drake, so I'll probably check that out later.
Yeah, Marcelino will always helping us out. You know what I'm saying, helping us keep our knowledge up. Uh, I don't know if you guys are gonna agree with this, but I think he do a bang bang job with the character. Both Sentry and Void. Um, John Cena.
Huh, okay. Again, I need to know more about the character, but you know, my opinion on John Cena as an actor made a complete 180 thanks to James Gunn, because I thought, okay, John Cena works as a comedic actor, so if you put him in a comedic role, it'll work. And then the Suicide Squad came out, which he was mostly doing what I expected him to do. And then you get that last act in the movie where they hint that, ooh, there might be a good actor in there. And then you get to his show, Peacemaker, and suddenly you're like, oh, there was a good actor in there this whole time, and James Gunn was the one who found it.
I look at it as I follow a lot of his wrestling and different
Mhm.
stuff like that. And there's a lot of comedic timing, acting timing in wrestling. And a lot of the more serious stuff that he did with that, you know what I'm saying? And when it wasn't all the comedy, you could really feel it. I felt like it's in him, but it took somebody like James Gunn to bring it out of him. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes.
it's interesting to me. So I that's who I would cast if I can't cast this guy.
Interesting. You know, it's funny, the role that I could see him as, but of course it can't really happen now because of the fact that we already have like, you know, two actors now that have played him. But I could have seen him playing a good General Ross, especially like seeing him
Mm,
as Red Hulk. Like you wouldn't even need to have a CG Hulk, just paint him red. He's
yeah,
muscular enough.
just do the old school, just paint him red. And
Yeah,
he already has like a head shaped like Hulk.
exactly. He already has like the perfect square jaw. Just give him a mustache, he's good to go.
That'd be amazing.
Mm,
And he's got the little ball spot, you know what I'm saying, going at the top. So the
oh
General
yeah.
Ross thing will work.
But
Yeah.
that being said, though, I am very curious because you know, speaking of Thunderbolts, keep it on that topic. Very curious to see how Harrison Ford's gonna do as General Ross.
Just don't die.
Yeah,
Don't they haven't started filming yet. Don't die on set. We saw we saw what happened with the Han stuff, the Indiana Jones stuff, and stuff like that. Dog, just stay alive.
that's true. The dude got into a plane accident during the filming of The Force Awakens, but he somehow was able to walk away from that just fine.
Yeah. We don't need you to be leave that stuff to Tom Cruise. You know,
Yeah.
we're just counting Tom Cruise days. Like one day they're gonna go, oh, Tom Cruise had an accident. Yeah, we knew it was coming.
With all the stuff he's been doing, at least one of them was, you know, bound to go wrong.
Yeah, like we knew it was coming. We're just waiting on him. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Wow. Yeah, just keep Harrison Ford in a bubble to the Thunder. But I can't take another General Ross casting. Like let's just get it over with. Get, you know what I'm saying? Get it done. I need this movie out. I believe Miss Belova, you know what I'm saying, deserves to have this movie out because we haven't seen anything from her since the Hawkeye show.
Hmm. And then also with Ghost, because we got like this, because we got this whole story with her in Ant-Man and the Wasp about like how she's not actually the villain, she just doesn't want to die, and that's all we really got from her until until now. So I'm hoping we get to catch up on what she's been up to in the time between Ant-Man and the
Yeah.
Wasp and now.
Yeah, because I'm not a bad guy, you know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to stay alive, and since the government doesn't want to use my talents to help me so I can actually be a good guy, I'll just go run with villains because they're helping to keep me alive.
Yeah.
It like, come on now. Come on. We're putting together superpower teams before that, and y'all don't see this ghost, you know what I'm saying, that you can use and help her. Yeah, nah. I feel like that's somebody Tony Stark or somebody would have saw from a mile away. Like
Yeah.
that shouldn't even have happened.
Someone who could fade through objects? Nah. A 16-year-old kid who's really smart? Yes.
Makes no sense at all to me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Look, they could have used Ghost to lure Peter Parker into what they need to be. So if they had Ghost on their squad, that Avengers movie would have probably been over with. There would have been no threat of Thanos. You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna phase through something, steal the stones, phase out, we're gone.
Feel like I could say that argument with like a bunch of characters. If superheroes use their powers the way the internet suggested, like I think the most famous one, of course, being Ant-Man with his power to shrink. It's like, why doesn't he just go inside Thanos and then just expand to being like giant?
Right. I don't know. Then that doesn't make it. Then you don't have no movie. You don't make no money.
Oh
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? Ant-Man doesn't go through trauma. Like it's crazy that the whole what's crazy to me is that the whole universe in these movies depended on Ant-Man. If
That is,
if Ant-Man didn't exist, they wouldn't have won.
if that rat that happened to stumble upon the button that Ant-Man was trapped in didn't exist.
Splinter saved everybody.
Yes. Oh my God. New
then,
headcanon. That was
yeah,
Splinter.
that was Splinter, and the Ninja Turtles were born right after. the ooze came after Thanos' defeat.
There was in the original Ninja Turtles comic book, there was the joke between the writers of the comic. It was never like directly stated, but between the writers, they would say, "Oh yeah, the ooze they fell into was the same ooze that blinded Daredevil."
Wow, I haven't heard that. That is funny, and that is now forever my head canon. Like
Yes.
there's no way I'm getting over that. There's no way I'm getting over that. But that ends it for the Marvel talk. We can talk about Marvel forever. I can sit here and talk to you forever because I ain't talked to you guys in so long. There's DC casting going on again. Do we even want to talk about that?
Oh heck yes.
We do. So
Yeah.
we want to talk about yet another Supergirl being cast.
Yeah. Which I will say, before we even get into this article, not that I'm disappointed that they're casting a different actress to play Supergirl. But I did really like Sasha Kaye. I do think she had some potential, and it would have been kind of cool to see them expand that version of the character. But I totally get it too. Completely new universe, new direction. So it makes sense that they wouldn't want to. It seems like the only characters or the only actors that are really like carrying over from the original DC universe to this new one are the ones that James Gunn has worked with personally. So it seems like if you haven't actually been in a James Gunn project, you are most likely going to be getting axed.
Yeah, Sasha was dope though.
Mm-hmm.
Sasha was dope.
As much as I didn't like the Flash movie, I did think that she did a good job with what she was given.
All right, let's get into this article. The search for Supergirl. Millie Alcock or Meg Donnelly screen test in Atlanta exclusive. The character will first appear in James Gunn's Superman Legacy before heading to her own movie, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. For anybody who don't know Millie Alcock, what is she famous from? She's just young Princess Rhaenyra Targaryen in the House of Dragon. Cast her now. The movie sells itself after that. But the search for Supergirl is one step closer to completion. The screen test for the role took place yesterday, according to several sources, with the field now narrowed to 2 actresses. Millie Alcock, best known for her work at HBO Game of Thrones spinoff House of Dragon as Princess Rhaenyra Targaryen, and Meg Donnelly, who starred in Disney Channel's hit musical franchise Zombies, and who voices the character in a recent and current DC animated movies, both tested in Atlanta per sources. DC Studios bosses James Gunn and Peter Safran were present. Before we get more into this article, right? If you go by not knowing what the girls look like and you go by pedigree of the roles they played, it seems that Millie Alcock, right? Millie would be the choice. Just from, you know what I'm saying, Game of Thrones fame and everything like that. House of Dragon is still going. She won't be back to play the part since her characters, you know what I'm saying, grown up. But that fan base tends to follow, you know what I'm saying, their actors and actresses into other projects. And you know what I'm saying? If you're thinking about Disney Zombies, it's just that.
You know, how many people do you know of that that were such huge fans of Disney Zombies that the moment you say this actor is going to be the next MCU, that fan base is going to be like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, everybody can't be Vanessa Hudgens, Zac Efron. You know what I'm saying? Like of that type of pedigree that could transition over to other stuff. But when you look at the visuals of the two ladies, that's where you can see why this is such a competition and going, because one does look like a Supergirl, but depending on the age of what Supergirl is going to be, you know what I'm saying? And since this isn't going to be Power Woman, I still feel like Millie might, you know what I'm saying, be the choice to play the role. What do you think about that?
It's a hard one. I need to wait for the other two parts of Crisis on Infinite Earths, the animated series or the animated trilogy to come out, because we don't really get much of her as Supergirl in part one. There's a little bit of her. In fact, she's actually, it's weird. She's actually this version of Harbinger. So Supergirl's Harbinger in this version instead of I totally forgot her name, but Diggle's wife in the Arrowverse, who is also Harbinger in the comic books. So instead it's Supergirl this time, which is an interesting change. But so far she's not doing bad as a voice actress for Supergirl. And I know that voice acting and acting are very, you know, different skills. So just because you're good at one doesn't mean you're necessarily good at the other. But I do think that she has the voice down really good from what little I've seen of her. But of course, Millie, I'm a lot more familiar with because of Game of Thrones and because yes, I thought she was absolutely amazing, you know, in the first 5 episodes of that series. I think she would also make a really good Supergirl, especially if we're going with a young Supergirl, which it looks like that might be what they're going with, especially with the storyline that they're going to be running with her solo film, Woman of Tomorrow, which is going to be based on the Tom King comic book, in which she basically decides to go off world to celebrate her birthday because she can't get drunk on Earth, but she can get drunk somewhere that has a red sun. I'm curious if that's going to be the storyline they go with that leads to her adventure. But if so, I do think that this is the perfect age range for casting a character like that. Yeah. So overall, I think I'm going to go with Millie as my personal choice between the two of them. But that could change over time.
Yeah, I don't know about the voice acting. I haven't seen Zombies. It's not something that my daughters were into. You know, Bluey maybe.
You know, like Bluey's like fucking amazing.
Yeah, I think they're too young for that, like that zombies craze. I feel like that's more like High School Musical, like, you know what I'm saying, like that type of stuff. But some of those actors from those Disney things go on to do, you know what I'm saying, great things. But Millie's clinic that she put on in House of the Dragon, you know what I'm saying, to me is next level. And she was there with some top-notch actors and actresses, you know what I'm saying, going opposite of them. And I really feel like her presence, her on-screen presence, could do something very positive, you know what I'm saying, for this franchise. So and we need somebody to save us from, you know what I'm saying, what the Mother of Dragons did to Terminator for us. So we need a Game of Thrones win over here. So I don't know, but let's get back into the article. It also says Supergirl is a key part of Gunn's and Safran's plan as they piece together their slate for DC Studios. Warner Brothers Discovery hired the duo in late 2022 to reset the path for Warner's movies focused on DC comic characters. Supergirl, who would headline her own movie, Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, after being introduced in Gunn's own Superman movie, Superman Legacy, is a key component of that plan. The feature, still in development, is connected to a comic book miniseries, like you said, written by Tom King, was published in 2021 and 2022, and sought to redefine the character as something more than just a girl version of Superman. Superman is a guy it's crazy that it's all this talk about Superman when we're talking about Supergirl. Superman is a guy sent to Earth and raised by his loving parents. With Supergirl in this story, she's a character raised on a chunk of Krypton, Gunn explained in a video released on a social media when the slate was revealed in January 2023. She watched everybody around her perish in some terrible way, so she's a much more jaded character. Actress and playwright Anna Noguera, which I probably destroyed her last name, is writing the script. The project does not currently have a director. In the comics, Supergirl, also known as Kara Zor-El, is the cousin of Superman, who in Legacy will be played by David Corrin Sweat. David. Sasha Cale played the character in last summer's The Flash, but Gum and company are going a different direction. The search for Supergirl has been an ongoing process. Other actors who have been in the mix early were Kaylee Spinney and the star Priscilla, and Amelia Jones, the star of Coda. So I don't know. I just feel like it's Millie for the win. That's just my personal pride. That's me being biased because of the Game of Thrones fan that I am. You know what I'm saying? So I can't see since they announced it. I'm jaded. I can't see nobody else playing the role.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like one thing I'll say that I absolutely loved about this article was the mentioning how like Supergirl and Superman should not be similar, all right? Because Superman, yes, he lost his home as an infant, but the thing is, he lost it as an infant, barely has any memories of Krypton. So for, his whole life, he's just been an Earthling. And yes, he is connected to his Krypton heritage because he has the Fortress of Solitude, which taught him all about his culture and things like that. But he also doesn't have memories of losing it. Supergirl does. There is a lot of trauma to losing everyone really close to you, and she's lost everyone close to her twice. Once on Earth, or not on Earth, sorry, once on Krypton, and then once on Argo. So that trauma, is something that Superman doesn't have to carry, that Supergirl does. And the other big difference is that Supergirl is also, and this is no offense to the show Supergirl. I do like the show Supergirl, and I think Melissa Benoist does an excellent job. But it's basically just female Superman, the way they write her character. The other thing about Supergirl is, there's a reason she's called Supergirl and not Superwoman, because she starts being a superhero at a very young age too, like before she is an adult. So the other thing too is that if you're going to cast younger, make sure she's a character that knows how to have fun, make mistakes, the kind of dumb mistakes that a teenager would make, but with bigger consequences because she has superpowers. So, the exact way that they write Spider-Man, things like that, those are some things that you can play with her. And from the article, it sounds like that's the kind of stuff that they're going to be exploring. They're not just, again, no offense to the Melissa Benoist Supergirl show, they're not just going to make a female Superman though this time. That's what it sounds like to me anyways.
Yeah, and that's not what I want. It's too many copy and paste that go on for Superman. That's probably through all the mediums that we have with the different companies. It's probably like 30, 40 different versions of Superman. Superman is the prototypical superhero that everybody, wants to be. That lets Supergirl have a complications. You know what I'm saying? I'm as weird as this might sound, Supergirl is a woman and goes through different things. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure Clark doesn't have a monthly cycle. Or you know what I'm saying,
True.
or like it's different things that she has to deal with that young women, girls, women, alike can relate to, and let's gear that more towards that. Let's just not just have Superman with boobs.
Yeah, exactly.
So
like actually something that would be kind of interesting to explore, and I'm sure there's plenty of other superhero shows, like even Buffy's like explored this before, but like when it comes to like getting catcalled, like how do you like let a guy know, hey, that's not okay, without abusing your powers, you know what I mean?
like don't give him one and let him like like fall over and drop all this stuff.
Yeah, do something like that without like, fully losing your temper. Then suddenly, what would have been a okay punch for any human to do to another human is suddenly like, uh-oh, I think I just killed a man.
I think that's something I like that She-Hulk did was like when she was going on the dates
Hmm.
and she had the people where she found out where they weren't into her, they were just into the fact that, you know what I'm saying, she was a superhero. Like going that span to show those types of situations and how you mentally have to respond to that type of stuff it makes for interesting writing and interesting character development. So let's develop this character into something different than just a prototypical superhero. There's different. She's not going to go through the same things that Clark went through. Like you said, she grew up different than Clark. She doesn't look at Earth as like her first home. She knows what Krypton look like. You know what I'm saying? So like, let her develop into something where it's her that we could relate to her something totally different. Because to be totally honest with you, I feel like if they go in that route and do it properly, she'll be way more popular than Superman in the movies.
Oh yeah, that actually I could see that happening if they do it right. Because of course we've had so much Superman now, but now with this being the first Supergirl movie in years, and I'm pretty sure don't correct me if I'm wrong on this. I think the first Supergirl movie that came out, if I'm not mistaken, that was a straight to video movie, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So this will be like the first theatrical Supergirl movie. So I think that's going to be something that'll intrigue a lot of audiences. Plus, you'll have like kind of some of the older crowd going to this who watched Supergirl season 1 when it was on was it on CBS, right?
CBS, yeah.
Yeah, you had kind of, believe it or not, like Supergirl actually season 1 had an older crowd that would watch the show back in the day. From what I hear from the ratings, it was actually like kind of like people in their late 30s to like kind of early 60s, like watching Supergirl. So I think that like you'll have that crowd probably crossing over to the movie, even if they don't normally go to superhero movies.
And I think that's what they need. I think though it's the younger crowd that pushes like the 18 to 35 demographic or whatever that pushes these movies and stuff like that to success. I
Hmm.
think it's the older demographic that's going to sustain, you know what I'm saying, the movie. Because to be totally honest with you, these are the people that are going to the movies. It's not the 18 to 35. They're out clubbing and doing everything, working, do everything else. They go when they can. It's the 35 and above that actually still go to the movies weekly. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Who have the AMC stub cards. You know what I'm saying? Who are at uh what's it called? Who are at bingo. You know what I'm saying? Talking about the movie that they just saw and telling people that they should see it and different stuff like that. So I believe that movies shouldn't just be marketed to one demographic. It should be marketed to everybody, and because everybody can enjoy them.
Yeah, exactly. And as someone who works at a movie theater can confirm, I'm not trying to say that like all of our guests that we get at the draft house are on the older side, but a big majority of our regulars definitely are. At least as far as I can remember. Yeah, look, I think like a majority of our regulars are usually like on the older side.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. So I'm looking forward to it. Millie, you got this. If you want to go get it, girl, I'm 100% behind you. Hashtag Millie for Supergirl. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
for sure.
Yeah, Team Black in here. Uh, yo, there was a trailer that dropped. You know me, I'm Mr. Anime Man. I'm Mr. Manga Man. I love me some anime. I love me some manga. And even though I don't consider this show an actual anime, um, I do consider it with the help of the popularization of anime in American culture and in American terms. I feel like this had a lot to do with, you know what I'm saying, the transition of more, you know what I'm saying, coming over, not just the same niches, not just the shonen characters, but actually getting into more diverse, you know what I'm saying, characterization and what's coming over here, what we had. The live action trailer for Netflix's what's it called? Avatar. That's bad. Avatar dropped. Oh boy. We got a poster right here, February 22nd. Master your element. And what I must say is that I'm hooked.
Hmm.
I'm pleasantly surprised. After what was a decent One Piece, I'm not gonna say the live action One Piece was like perfect, but it was really decent for what it was. I wasn't disappointed by it. I enjoyed it. I really had nothing negative to say about it. This Avatar trailer looks like this show is going to be next level, and the characters, like the characters, they sound like they sound. I'm watching it and it feels like I'm watching the anime. Did you get a chance to watch Avatar: The Last Airbender back in the day?
Oh yes, that is one of my top favorite shows ever.
Okay. So what was your comparison of did you have the same reaction watching this trailer? Did it build your hype, or do you feel like don't mess with my stuff?
Built my hype majorly. Like visually, this is just like spot on to the original series. I think that the casting that they have looks incredible so far from everything I've seen. I especially love the dude that they cast as Uncle Iroh. I think like perfectly like, you know, they just nailed it. I think that if I really have any nitpicks, it's just this, the fact that for both Azula and the Fire Lord, that we see a lot of them in the trailer, even though this is supposedly supposed to just be season one of the show. One thing I thought that the original show did really well of is, for one, with the Fire Lord, yeah, we see him a few times, but most of the time, his face is always covered. And I always thought that like led to a really cool reveal in season 3 when we finally do see his face, and we see that this terrifying, you know, like villain that we've you know, been like fearing for so long has such a harmless looking face, and you realize like behind the flames, behind this, you know, scary persona that he tries to like let on, he's really just an average looking dude. And I always thought that was like really interesting in the anime. The other thing too with Azula, same exact thing. I liked how, you know, we hear about her and we see her in a couple of flashbacks, but we don't really get much from her until that very last shot in season 1, where, you know, the Fire Lord sends her to go after Zuko. So I do think it's kind of weird that we see quite a bit of the two of them in the trailer for this season. But that's my only nitpick. Everything else, like, keep in mind what I just said there was a huge nitpick. It wasn't a complaint. Everything else I see in this, like the special effects look like on point. I love a lot of the side characters that we get to see. So clearly they're going into not necessarily the filler aspects of the show, but definitely kind of like the smaller aspects of the show that do technically play a part later on. But I feel like you could have definitely, if you needed to, you could have skipped over them and waited till later to come back to those, but they don't. Like, we get Jet. I saw him in the trailer. It seems like they're also doing the whole storyline that they messed up so badly in the movie with the Earthbenders being held prisoner by the Fire Nation on the metal ship, which,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, that scene in the movie angers me so much with how much they screwed it up. Like, man, I can't see straight when I think about it, because I'm like, what was M. Night thinking? But yeah, and it looks like, you know, on top of all that, you have the fact that it's got the sense of humor from the show too. It looks like they're not afraid to get dark, but they're also not afraid to tell a joke here and there. And I love that. I think that if you're adapting Avatar, you got to be able to have a good balance of emotion and making us laugh, you know?
Yeah, true. I agree with you 100% on that. And Fireboard, that's flame. The Fire Lord, that's Flame Bay. That's why I hear the ladies calling him Flame Bay.
Flame Bay.
Yeah. So no, I always thought that too, but it just shows that the power, the, you know what I'm saying, that he had, that think about it. He's still handsome. He's never been touched. How strong is this man never to take a flame to the face? You know what I'm saying, or
Oh, yeah.
anything like that. So I don't know. I think showing more of them is going to let us know that they're going to flesh these characters out a little bit more. And one of the things that I always disagreed with how they took the Fire Lord and Zuko is even though he scarred his son, he was upset at his son, I think he still wanted his son to be successful. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like he still he I think it was because his expectations were so high that he was disappointed in him, type thing. But I never thought he didn't care about him. You know
Yeah,
what
I
I'm
do
saying?
think I do think that in his messed up way, the Fire Lord did actually care about Zuko. It was just that it was in a bad, you know, messed up way that, you know, he cared about his son the same way he was probably his dad probably cared about him, you know, in that same kind of messed up. I care about you, but you still gotta learn your lesson.
Right. So that's one of the perspectives I'm looking at, seeing how much time they actually spend on that.
Mhm.
Like, it's something they're going to sit with for a little bit, or they're going to speed through it. I want to see Aang struggle, especially with struggle with being the Avatar. In the anime, that was one of the biggest selling points of it, that this man is supposed to be all powerful, but watching him be not perfect and not knowing how to emotionally handle things and trying to come to grips to his status and who he's supposed to be was one of the best things about that character, because you could just eat as a child, like watching it, I could relate to not not being what I'm supposed to be, and not like want to disappoint my friends and my family and stuff like that, and just trying to live up to the hype type
Mhm.
deal. So like I could relate to that as a kid. I think it's one of the reasons I related to Aang. And as long as they get Katara right, and she becomes a badass, I'll be good with it. But as far as like the visuals and stuff right now, hey, let's go. Let's
Yes.
go.
I 100% agree with you, especially with what you mentioned about Aang, because that is something they did great in the original show. I mean, he's 12 years old. He's not supposed to be told he's the Avatar until he's 16, but suddenly, the wise men get like this vision about a war breaking out, and so they have to like unload all this to Aang, like, oh hey Aang, by the way, you're the Avatar. There's a great war coming, so we know you're still a kid having fun, but we kind of need you to learn airbending now so we can move you on to the next element.
Right. And just having that thrust, or having that responsibility thrust on your shoulders, especially 4 years before you're supposed to have it, is crazy. And I have to see the trials and tribulations of him going through learning these techniques. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? I don't need them to just do a scene like a workout montage and him learning to do something, and then 5 seconds later they cut to him being, you know what I'm saying, 110% in fire building or something. Like, no, let us see the trials he goes through to perfect these, especially the earth bending. Because you remember the time he had learning the
Oh,
earth bending.
he struggled, because yeah, I do love the in-universe explanation as to why Earth was so hard for him to learn, because it's literally the opposite of air, and air
Mhm.
was the one that he was the most used to. And so the techniques, it makes so much sense that the techniques for earthbending are the opposite of airbending. And it's such a, yeah, um like it's like when you play a video game. Okay, so this is a weird comparison, but it's like with Souls compared to Bloodborne. I suck at Bloodborne, and it's because I'm so good at Dark Souls, because in Dark Souls I am very patient. I'm very much like waiting for my enemy to move first before I make a direct attack. Bloodborne, you can't play that way. If you play that way, you are going to
Just
die.
die.
But the controls are exactly the same as Dark Souls, so I keep feeling like I need to play it the same way I play Dark Souls.
Right.
And I feel like it's just like that struggle with Aang when it comes to learning earthbending.
Nah. Hey, look. He's gonna have a field day, and as long as they show that on screen, him going through that, I'm not gonna have a problem with it. Johnny says, "Hey, how you feel about the Wizards revival? Honestly,
The
Wizards of what?
Wizards.
Wizards of Waverly Place?
Oh yeah, I heard about that show coming back.
Um, again, out of my age range. That was my sister. I'm 40. I'll be 41 in March, so that was right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I missed that by that much. That was my younger sister whose thing was. But hey, I'm all for it if they do it right. I'm really into these shows that show kids growing up, all what's going fun. I want to see their adult problems.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? When they're growing, I want to see if they're casting spells to pay Nipsco. You know what I'm saying? Or what do they do when they got when when they got sick, they had COVID, they can only work 3 days and they got to pay that rent. You know what I'm saying? Like what do they do then? I want to see these same characters with adult problems and see how they solve them. I don't want the same little kitty problems going on again. They're supposed to be adults. So as long as they do something like that, I might rock with it. I'm a fan of Selena Gomez. I think she's an amazing actress, an amazing talented overall. I've been looking to see her do more than what she has with her career, though.
Yeah, I would agree. I also love it when shows do that. Actually, yeah, I feel it's funny. The two examples I can think of right now, if I'm being honest, I actually haven't watched past the first season, but both Girl Meets World and Raven's Home, I thought, both were, kind of fun ways to, especially like, okay, so with both of them, you had them as adults having kids, which meant that you could kind of have your cake and eat it too, because you could still have like the fun adventures that the kids go on, but then you could have the characters that we knew growing up as they were kids. Now we get to see them doing the adult, like kind of, issues, whether it be paying taxes or, that disconnect, that generational disconnect that every parent has with their kid. You know what I mean? So yeah, I always think that's always a fun thing to explore. So if one of the kids in Wizards of Waverly Place has a kid now that they're raising, especially, assuming that the kid that they're raising is becoming a wizard, I think you could have some fun gags with that.
Yeah, you really could. And here comes you know what Marcelino's good for? Marcelino's good for coming with a tidbit of a great tidbit of information for the previous topic. But we were talking about the Supergirl topic earlier, right? He said, I just checked out an article with one of the previous candidates for Supergirl. Amelia Jones actually refused to read the comics for the role. I guess that's why she wasn't picked. Thank you. If you won't read the source material, you don't need to do the role.
I think that, yeah, a lot of times, if I'm looking to cast someone and I hear someone just refuses to read a comic book role, it's like, now I know you're not super enthusiastic about this, and now I'm less likely to cast you. Not saying it's a complete deal breaker, but it's definitely, it's definitely not going to help, pretty much.
Right. We'll see. We'll see what happens. No, don't. If they won't read the source material, don't cast them. That's all I gotta say. Henry Cavill has set a large bar for knowing source material. If it's not a third of what Henry Cavill does, they don't deserve the role.
The funniest thing was when it came to Fan Four Stick, because the actress that played Susan Storm asked the director, "Oh, hey, what Fantastic Four comic book should I read?" The director just told her not to bother. It's like, that's a bad director.
Very, very bad director. That's when you go to like comic historian or somebody like that. But hey, give me 5 comics I need to read to learn this character. Like how do you portray a character you know nothing about, especially if the script doesn't give you a perception of who the character is, or the character's already developed in the script that you're reading. You need to know where this character came from, ideology. You know what I'm saying? Mannerisms, just to learn the character. That I don't think they understand how bad nerds and geeks are with these comic book movies. You know what I'm saying? Like all it takes for you not to. I still don't know how Hugh got away with being Logan. Like
that is true.
It just he did the role so well that he got away with it, but I don't understand how he did it.
I think it came down to the fact that everything in X-Men, visually at least, looked nothing like the comic book. I mean, except for Charles Xavier. Except for Patrick Stewart as Charles Xavier, nothing looked like the comic book. And so I think for that, they were able to get away with it. And then suddenly, just over the years, people just got so attached to him that even if he's not like a fully comic book accurate version of the character, people just don't want to see him go.
And then one more from Marcelino. We'll get to more of your questions and live viewers. What was also especially irritating was the She-Hulk writer openly admitted to not reading the comments. Fans weren't expecting a copy and paste, but some kind of inspiration. What's weird with that is that I feel like they still got the character of She-Hulk right.
Yeah, that actually kind of surprises me, because when it comes to the tone of the show, I mean, it matches like, and keep in mind, I'm talking about like early She-Hulk comic books when it was a comedy. I know that like later on they kind of dropped the meta aspect of her character as her comics got more serious. But when we're talking about her first initial run, like of She-Hulk comic books, yeah, no, that the show perfectly matched that tone of that comic book. So hearing that she didn't read any of them, that is actually pretty surprising.
Yeah, did it not a knockout job? And I don't want to say that you can't make something successful but not looking into the source material, but I can guarantee somebody was in their ear about something, and that's not something that I want done all the time, because She-Hulk was an anomaly.
Mhm.
in a moment. It came at the right time. It broke up the monotony of everything being so dark and dreary. That show was just set up to win at the time. So I don't know. But hey, Avatar look like it's gonna be dope. Netflix is killing it right now. Netflix also they're making big moves. I think they in 2025, I think they get Monday Night Raw
Oh
and
yeah.
they get Monday Night Raw, and I think they get the if I read it right, the live events. So like the pay-per-views also on Netflix. So this might be the first exploration Netflix has into weekly live television. So keep doing your thing, Netflix, because y'all killing it right now, especially in the anime game.
Mhm.
And I think is is the new season of One Piece like airing exclusively on Netflix?
Oh yeah, the I think yeah, the new series it's going to be a Netflix exclusive.
Yeah, so Netflix is killing right now. Moving along. I'm not a big Jurassic Park world. Well, I'm a huge Jurassic Park fan. I'm not a huge Jurassic World fan, but I understand the hype behind it. And guess what? It's getting ready to expand once again because it's one thing that we can't get enough of: dinosaurs and cars. So there will always be a Jurassic Park movie, and there will always be a Fast and the Furious movie. They will never
Mhm.
end.
It will never end ever. No matter how much we beg.
Yeah. But let's look into this new Jurassic World movie in the works with David Cup writing. This is an exclusive from the Hollywood Reporter. Although it's been 2 years since the last time dinosaurs roamed Earth in 2022's Jurassic World Dominion, which was surprisingly actually a good movie, Universal Pictures has hardly kept its biggest franchise trapped in amber. The studio is deep into development of an all-new Jurassic World movie and has David Kep back at the keyboard. Kep was the original writer of the 1993 Jurassic Park, famously directed by Steven Spielberg, and its sequel, 1997's Jurassic Park Lost World. The project, which has been flying under the radar, is far enough along, and the script is well liked shaped that the studio is whispering about a possible 2025 release date. That's ambitious. There
Mhm.
is no director on board, but Frank Marshall, the veteran and celebrated producer who oversaw Jurassic World trilogy, is back producing, as is another Jurassic vet, Patrick Crowley. Spielberg will executive produce via his Amblin Entertainment banner. It is unclear what form this relaunch is taking, but is known to be launching a new Jurassic era per sources with an all-new storyline that would seem to rule out the return of the characters played by Jurassic World stars Chris Pratt. Thank you. You can bring back Bryce Dallas Howard, but Chris Pratt got to go bye-bye. And it seems characters featured in the original Jurassic Park movies played by Sam Neill, Lauren Dern, and Jeff Goldblum will not be involved. That might also be a thank you. The fact that it's being called a new Jurassic World instead of Jurassic Park may also be telling. This would suggest the franchise is likely not taking a back to basics approach, but could go to parts unknown. Jurassic Space. This is where you jump the shark like the Fast and the Furious do. If I see a friggin' raptor with a spacesuit on, flying around trying to catch people, I will burn your movie theater to the ground.
at this
the
at this point, just give it to the people that write and direct the Iron Sky movies, because at least those people know how to really make a weird movie, like, and make it weird.
Man, the Jurassic franchise is a key jewel under the Universal Films history, with the 1993 original movie redefining special effects and having a long-lasting impact on pop culture. 6 movies have made over a span of 3 decades, earning more than $6 billion worldwide. The original Jurassic Park adapted the 1990 novel by Michael Crichton. Um, I don't know what to say because I really don't know if we need another one.
Hmm.
I just don't know. Like I'm so over this. Like I give me a Bluey movie. Like give me a full feature length Bluey movie, or I'll take a Coco Melon movie right about now. You know what I'm saying? But more dinosaurs. If somebody isn't going this Morphin Time Mastodon, I want nothing to do with dinosaurs.
I mean, I like dinosaurs. I don't mind another dinosaur movie, but I'm definitely with you when it comes to the Jurassic World franchise. The big thing is that I didn't even like the first Jurassic World movie. And I remember after seeing it thinking, oh, yeah, this movie isn't going to do well after opening weekend. It's going to go down the next week. Just wait. And then being shocked when I was working box office that next weekend and saw that there was a line going right outside the theater and going, no, they can't all be here for Jurassic World. And they were. And this movie kept doing good. And again, it's a movie that I just don't see the appeal to. I get that it has a fan base, but I couldn't get into the first Jurassic World movie. The second one, I also didn't like. Third one, I didn't even really finish because I just, from what little I saw, I didn't like. So I just don't like the Jurassic World franchise. And come to think of it, I don't know if I like the Jurassic Park as a franchise because the only movies in the Jurassic Park franchise that I think I like are Jurassic Parks 1 and 3. 2's pretty bad because it's kind of boring. And yeah, like the entire Jurassic World trilogy, I just don't like. I only like Jurassic Park 1 and 3. So maybe that's why I'm super biased when I say I kind of want this franchise to just like end already. But yeah, I'm not into it. I just don't care about these sequels anymore. But that's where I'm at.
Nah, I'm with you on that. Like I said, kids like dinosaurs. That's probably one of the reasons why the Power Rangers shows that do the best are the ones that have dinosaur, you know what I'm saying, themes in them to start off with. It's something about our fascination with fossils and creatures that can eat you. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Even the horror movies, we're obsessed with things that can eat you or things that are bigger. I don't know. I don't know.
We're obsessed with things that can scare us if we're watching it from the safety of like a screen, you know?
Yeah, and none of us would be cool if there were dinosaurs walking around right now.
Oh God, no.
So I don't know. I won't even watch it because I don't even think I've seen. I watched Jurassic World. I watched part of Dominion, and I haven't watched anything else. I watched Jurassic Park 1 and 2 and 3. They're cool. The music is cool. The first scene with the water shaking with the, you know what I'm saying, when the Tyrannosaurus walk. Yeah, all that's cool. Other than that, nah, bro. I don't want it. Um, Seen a Nerd podcast said, "Great show, fellas. Got to jump. I will catch the race later. Have a good one. This week restart Reacher."
Oh, I hear that show is extremely satisfying.
Yeah. Marcelino says, "I enjoyed Jurassic Park 1, 2, and 3, where they betrayed their narrative about humans and dinosaurs coexisting with each other and instead focused on stupid locust plotline."
I will say this. So like 3 isn't a good movie. When I say I enjoy 3, I don't mean it's good. I mean I just enjoy it. It's funny and it's just entertaining as all hell. But yeah, 1's the only one that I would say is a good movie. Like really good. Like I will watch Jurassic Park 1 any day.
I feel like they made one like it was supposed to be a one-off and it made so much money that they had to figure out how to make it into a franchise.
Exactly.
Like, come on, bro. It's only so many things you could do. The next thing we're gonna figure out is that let's see, the next movie they're gonna have GI Joe and Transformers combined, and then the government's gonna be asking the Transformers to help them with their dinosaur problem. Like we messed up, remade dinosaurs, come and save us.
At this point, that's the only thing that would hook me. Speaking of which, though, okay, sorry to go off on a slight tangent here. I don't know how I didn't know this, but the most recent Transformers movie, I only just watched it like a couple weeks ago. Somehow, this whole time, I didn't know GI Joe made a small cameo at the very end of the movie.
Yeah.
Because there was a scene where he hands him the card, and I'm like, oh, let me guess, it's gonna say section 13 or section 7, whatever it was from the other Transformers movies. But when he flips the car over and it says GI Joe, I'm like, how did I not know about this? What the hell?
Yeah, that's because nobody watched that last Transformers movie.
I guess not. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. It is crazy. All right, we got one more article for you guys before we get into live viewer questions, man. And this is probably the article that I'm most excited about because I love me some Big Daddy John Boyega. There is a Book of Eli sequel series that is getting ready to start, starring guess who? Finn.
um
He's
ah,
gonna have force powers.
I was gonna guess Daisy Ridley, but okay.
I see what you did there. uh, Deadline reports the Book of Eli prequel series starring John Boyega from the film's creative team hits marketplace. John Boyega set the headline and executive produced the Book of Eli, a TV series prequel to the 2010 post-apocalyptic action film that starred Denzel Washington in the title role. Deadline is learned. Boyega will play a younger version of Washington's Eli in the project, which hails from the movie's writer, Gary Whitta, creator, writer, executive producer of the potential series, and its directors. The Hughes brothers, who will executive produce, the film's producer, Alcock Entertainment, is the studio on the TV project, which is about to be taken out to select premium buyers, I hear. The neo-Western Book of Eli movie takes place 30 years after the nuclear catastrophe caused Eocide. It revolves around Eli, a nomad who fights his way across a ravaged post-apocalyptic America while protecting a sacred book that he holds that secrets to humanity's salvation. Details about the TV series are sketchy, but I hear it's set 30 years prior to the events of the film, which will put it around the time of the nuclear event or its immediate aftermath. That marks one of the highest profile star driven IP packages to hit the premium TV marketplace since the end of the Hollywood strikes. While there have been a handful of deals so far, buying has been slow out the gate. It is expected to be picked up early 2024. The Book of Eli, an example of caliber and auspicious and premise a TV package needs to stand. Premise the TV package needs to stand out. Book of Eli in 2010 was distributed by Warner Brothers. Was not involved in the TV prequel, and it earned $157.1 million worldwide on an $80 million budget. Not bad.
Mm-hmm.
Not bad at all. Is there something you can? What is your hype level of something like this?
A little bit too early to have any huge hype for it, but I will say everything I'm hearing about this so far has me intrigued. We get to explore this world a little bit more. Maybe if it's 30 years before the events of the movie, I wouldn't doubt if we get like a little more backstory on where he was when this whole disaster went off. How it is that he got really good at basically being like Daredevil in a sense of being blind, but like still being able to kick a lot of ass. And also at times, like when you look at that opening scene in the movie, I always love it when he leads everyone under the dark bridge. You don't know it when you're watching it, but you realize later, oh no, that's so he has the advantage in the fight because he can hear him just fine as well as ever, but they can't see him, and I love that. I absolutely love that. So I hope so I hope it's good. I think that casting John Boyega as like a younger version of the character is an amazing choice. I can definitely see him playing that role really well. And how often is it? No offense to anyone who has a whatever religion you have. No offense, but like, how rare is it that you get a Christian, like a character with a Christian protagonist in a movie and it's actually good? Because a lot of times, like, they just, those type of characters always come off as way too preachy and everything, and it's less about telling a story and more that like whoever is writing this movie is just really just trying to get their message across, and they don't care about the story. And as much as I always talk about how it's okay to input like whatever kind of commentary you want in your movies as long as it doesn't take away from the stories, it's rare that you see a Christian movie actually do that. And so I think Book of Eli and VeggieTales are like the two exceptions to that rule, in a sense that you can have like a Christian character that can actually, spread the positive messages of, Christianity, I'll say, without like with there still being a really cool story to go along with it. So I'm curious how if they're gonna keep that aspect of the character going in the prequel series. So there's a lot that I'm intrigued about. A little too early to get hyped, but for the most part, yeah, I am definitely looking forward to this.
I'm looking forward to seeing John Boyega in anything. I feel like he could really act, but I wasn't a huge fan of Book of Eli.
Oh,
But
really?
nah, it wasn't my thing. Book of Eli, the one post-apocalyptic zombie thing that Will Smith was in, I wasn't a fan of that neither. But I am a fan of seeing
Oh, yeah.
maybe if we had a prequel and I know what all happened beforehand. I'm one of those type of people. I think that's why I'm so hype on House of Dragons and prequels and stuff like that, is because I like to see where stuff came from visually. So maybe this will maybe I'll watch this and it'll make Book of Eli better for me later. You know what I'm saying? After I see the stakes and all that happened. Instead of just hearing about it, you know what I'm saying, from somebody's point of view. A lot of times I need visual, you know what I'm saying, substance to be able to properly understand a person's motivation or what they're gonna do. But I'm hyped for it. We'll see what happens. Well, I'm not hyped for it. I'm semi-hyped for it. I'm like lukewarm. Lukewarm.
Mhm.
So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, definitely. As of course, more comes out, we'll definitely talk about it on Hero Report, and we'll let you know if our hype gets any higher or any lower. Who knows? Maybe the first trailer will be so bad, like I'll be like, oh nope, my excitement's gone, or it'll go up.
Yep. Not watching it. Not gonna do it. Trailer was bad. Okay. But Stuart, you know what time it is?
Yep, I believe. Well, we have the sound clip for it now.
Oh wow, we're rich. Here we go.
Now, everybody, it is time for live viewer questions.
Bro, that's awesome. That is awesome. I have really not been on the show enough. I didn't even know we had that. I'm really geeked about it. Okay. I'm gonna let you guys know that I'm gonna leave all of the Power Ranger questions that you guys asked for when Adam comes back, because I am totally not current on what's going on. Although I do watch, I'm doing a lot of catch up when it comes to Power Rangers. We got a couple of questions here coming from Peg C. First part of the question is, what are your thoughts on when Superman and Batman copyrights expiring in a decade? Superman and Lois will enter public domain in 2034. Batman will enter public domain in 2035, and in 2036, Joker will enter public domain. Well, what do you think about that?
Oh, I had this theory a little while back. This was back when we had 3 different Superman movies that were announced, because we had the James Gunn movie that was announced. We also had, I believe there were 2 Black Superman movies that were also announced. Plus you had the show going on, Superman and Lois. So I had this theory that Warner Brothers was trying to get as much as they could out of Superman, and I still think they're going to go into that direction for the next 10 years, because they know that once he's public domain, everyone's going to make their own version of a Superman movie. It's definitely going to be interesting. I guarantee you the first movie that's going to come out of it is going to be a Superman horror film. Kind of probably in the same realm as Brightburn. So probably won't be as popular as other horror movies that come from public domain, characters, but I could definitely see that. Same exact thing with Batman. There are ways you could totally make a horror Batman movie, and that would work really well. Yeah, I don't have any excitement for it myself, because I don't know if I myself will be taking advantage of this, but maybe I will. Who knows? But yeah, I think it is. I think when more things enter the public domain, I think that's for the better.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you on that. I kind of feel like the same way. I feel like we saw what happened with Steamboat Willie. You're gonna see a lot of people try to take advantage of that. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody already has a movie made right now and they're just waiting on 2035 to drop it. So I think a lot of good can come from it too, because I feel like when those copyrights expire, if maybe they have to forcibly use somebody other than Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, you know what I'm saying, through the Trinity, maybe that's where we could see the Zantanas, Dr. Fates, and you know what I'm saying, get more of those characters forefront. I feel that's something that Marvel does better than DC, even though I feel like they fail at it a lot. They're really good at marketing characters other than like their big 5.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I just feel like DC, no matter what happens, they run right back to Batman in them, especially Batman. Batman is involved in every major DC storyline ever. So,
for the most part, whenever if it's like part of the any TV universe, though, then of course that's when it's like, no, you're not allowed to touch Batman at all. Gotham.
right?
Okay, you can have Bruce Wayne, no Batman though.
How good would Batwoman have been if they were actually able to use Batman?
See, that would have been really cool because then you could have had the awesome mentor dynamic between the two of them. Um, Plus, I just personally think it's bad as a writer when you basically, because the writers of Batwoman admitted this, they didn't have an explanation of where Batman was, like in their head when they were writing the show. I think that as a writer, you should always have an explanation, like somewhat, or at least an idea, basically, is all.
Right. No, I'm with you on that. Question number 2. What are your thoughts on the news that a movie about Bob the Builder is in the works?
Ooh. I haven't I actually never watched Bob the Builder. I think that was just a little bit after, my time of that like kind of like toddler era of television. I think it came out like I think when it came out I was just barely too old for it. But it's pretty popular, so I could see it doing well.
I think my kids will watch it. Other than that, I don't know. It might be something I sit down and watch with my kids, like the Paw Patrol movie and all that stuff. But it's not something I see myself going, back to, a lot. Marcelino said the problem with Batwoman using Batman is that they would have never used Batwoman as the main character and would have made it a Batman show, which everyone would have totally checked.
I disagree. I think you could have done it.
Yeah, I disagree with that too. I think at that point with the surgence of having female leads, especially what was happening on the CW at that time, and the success that Supergirl was actually having, Legends of Tomorrow, different stuff like that, that you could have had that Batwoman aspect of what was going. It's just been appearance or two, whether it was that mentor aspect, like they said, of Batman being there before he disappeared or something like that, would have just made that show a lot more. They tried the whole fake Bruce Wayne thing. You know what I'm saying? It was just you tend to run out of ideas when the main influence for a city or characters like that is Batman. When you got somebody else in the Bat family there, you just needed that cosign. You know what I'm saying? To almost make it feel like it was like it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Let's see. Man, y'all be getting crazy amounts of Power Ranger questions, don't y'all? This comes from Jessica Friedman. You know we got to read this question. Is Netflix still doing a live action Pokemon series? And if Madam Web is a hit at the box office, could it lead to more female-led superhero movies?
For the second question, yes. If it, I mean, I think that in general, even if it doesn't do good, I don't think it'll do any damage to future superhero movies, or future female-led superhero movies. Even if it doesn't like help, I don't think it'll make it any worse because I think most general audiences are just going to look at it as like not a bad superhero movie with women. They're just going to look at it as another bad superhero movie, hopefully, because I feel like at this point you know what to expect from a Sony superhero film. As to the Netflix live action Pokemon series, I don't know. I hope so, and I hope it's you get some people that worked on Detective Pikachu working on it if it does happen, because I actually really enjoyed that movie, and I think that if they wanted to expand that world into a series, I'd love to see that.
I don't think Madam Web is going to lead to more female-led characters. I think other female-led movies led to a movie like Madam Web.
Yeah.
That's honestly what I think happened. I think I don't think anybody would second look at it like it's the females that failed. They'll look at it like Sony failed again. Sony has such a bad track record with movies that people are worried about Sydney Sweeney and Dakota Johnson and all them not getting the respect they deserve because it's a Sony Pictures movie. If Madam Web was a Marvel picture, Marvel and Disney, whatever movie, they wouldn't be catching as much flack as they are now.
Mhm.
We would just wait for it to come out and then tell you if it was bad or good. Because Marvel has a track record of the product that they put out, and Sony has a track record too. And right now, Sony's track record is just negative. So I don't think that would affect that at all. As the Pokemon series, nah, we don't need no live action. I don't know nothing about it. We don't need no live action Pokemon series. We need a live action Power World series. That's what we need.
Wait, is that the new one that's coming out that people are like comparing to Pokemon?
It's already out. Game Pass,
Oh,
free 99 if you got Game Pass.
oh, nice. Okay.
I've been playing it like crazy. I captured all my little pals. I'm capturing humans. I'm teaching them how to use guns. It's just fun.
Wait, you can capture humans in this?
You can capture humans and have them and enslave them to work at your base.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
So it's like a Pokemon was like more self-aware then.
Yeah, it's slavery. That's how we're playing slavery right now, and I might catch flack for this. It's fun.
Mm.
It's fun.
I mean, it's a video game, so whatever. I play Grand Theft Auto, but hopefully that doesn't mean anyone thinks that I'm actually someone who's going to go out and start a mass shooting or anything. That was a really dark joke to make. I apologize. All right, moving on to the next question.
All right. All right, check it out. This is a Power Ranger question I think we can that I can answer. Johnny said, "Are you excited about MMPR the return, and could it lead to more in terms of a standalone ongoing series? This may sound unlikely, but do you think Scorpina and or maybe Trini could be the villain for MMPR the return?"
I'm just gonna double check. Is that the Amy Jo Johnson comic series coming to Boom Studios? It is. Okay, cool. Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm like super excited for it, but I'm definitely intrigued. And yeah, if it does well, given how like expansive the whole Boom Studios comic book universe has gotten, I think this might actually be like a good way for them to dip their toe in the water of whether or not exploring a different continuity could work. Because from what I understand, this will be in its own universe, not connected to either the show or to the Boom Studios comic books. So I think this would be kind of a interesting route for them to go if they decide to take this further. So yeah, I think it could definitely lead to more in terms of a standalone ongoing series.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think this series. I feel like it's gonna be a great read, but I don't feel like this series is something that's gonna lead to an ongoing series. I really feel like the Boom Studios comics are what should be the reference point or of a new series. I mean, the writing, the storytelling, and everything with that is just so amazing that it would kill. You know what I'm saying, as a series, but they would have to take Power Rangers seriously in order to put the money behind it to do something like that. And what other place would it be than Netflix? You know what I'm saying, to do that. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen next. I want to see what Netflix does with the current stuff that they're going to be putting out, and see what they're going to do with it. But I don't know, man. I kind of don't want to do anything with Trini,
Mhm.
because that character is just iconic, and I want to leave that alone. But I would want to do something with her daughter.
Yeah, same. Because I freaking loved her in Once and Always.
Yeah, not just her. I want to do something with Jenna Frank too. It'll be interesting to have the daughters of two legendary Rangers. You know what I'm saying? Maybe co-lead. You know what I'm saying? A team, or come into an already established team and they're trying to fulfill those roles. You know what I'm saying? Type thing. That could be a good coming age story.
That yeah, definitely. Also, yeah, so I agree that I don't see Trini being a villain, but Scorpina, I could see her coming back. She had a really cool comeback in the Way of the Dragon comic book with
Hmm.
Tommy Oliver. Pretty good read. And she ends up being the surprise villain at the end. Sorry, that was a big spoiler, but it doesn't matter because it's not about the destination in this comic. It's definitely about the journey.
Yes, the journey, and I'm be honest with you. If they haven't read that by now,
True, it's been out for years.
if you ain't read that by now, you're not a real fan. That's all. That's all. Also, Johnny wants to know if we can give him a shout out. He said tomorrow is his birthday. So, from us here at A Plus Hero Report, from Adam Perez in spirit, we want to wish you a very happy birthday. If you get at me on Instagram, at Nerd Mix Alpha, get at me on Instagram, send me your PO box, and we'll send you out a birthday gift. How's that sound, sir? But you only hear it if you're still tuned in. So we'll see how much of a fan you are. But have a very happy birthday, and wish you many, many, many more. Um, let's get into one more on here.
Oh,
Uh,
actually, I think we got two more.
two more.
Yeah.
Where we got the other one? We got one in the comments.
No, we got Blossom with two questions, and then Marcelino with looks like three questions.
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to be able to answer the first. So for Blossom, have you guys seen Gaiga Tokusatsu recently. So there was one series that I think Adam actually reviewed on our previous channel, I believe on APlus More Phenomenal. And I watched like the first couple episodes of that. And I guess, okay, so you said you found one that looks like Jungle Fury, but kind of different. It or still would like to make those guys as Power Rangers, imagine, by different people as well as children. So like basically be, so what are you, if you're saying like take those characters and then just kind of do the same thing with Power Rangers, where you film new scenes like in between like the action scenes in that, then yes, that would actually be kind of interesting to see, especially because like the way they film it, even though they are made for adults for very obvious reasons, they do have very like family friendly edits of those on YouTube, which I find very, very interesting. So I do think that that is something very doable. I don't see it happening, but I do think it is very possible. And then do you guys remember the Lights of Orion? This just came to me since I plan to have Waku Sabers and Dinovators. I assume those are weapons. Oh yeah, Rangers from Imaginations of Others. How'd it be if cannons similar to my Tokyo-chers? Man, I wish Adam was here for this question. But yes, I do remember the Lights of Orion from Lost Galaxy. I think I remember that. It's been quite a minute since I've seen Lost Galaxy. I'm sorry, I'm butchering your question, Blossom, so I fully apologize. I will try to see if Adam's willing to answer this question next week. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, it's no problem. I remember the Lights of Orion from Lost Galaxy, but then she started talking Ranger talk, and I had no idea where she was going with the question, because again, I'm just not catching up with everything that's going on.
Were the lights of Orion what they used to separate the Magna Defender from Mike? Or am I thinking of something else?
I just know they were like a energy source that like people were after because they existed for more than 3,000 years, and like the Lost Galaxy Rangers, like they use them to enhance their powers.
Okay, so it's like the source of the power with the swords.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what I remember of it. So other than that, I don't know. The Rangers from Giga Tasuka are Rangers imagined by different people.
Oh, I thought that was like a specific that like company that does like their own Sentai. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. My bad.
Blossom, right. I'm personally going to look into that because now you sparked my interest. So, yeah, I feel you got me feeling like I'm not nerd enough. Like I've so fell off my Power Ranger history. I fell off after Gokaiger. After I watched Gokaiger and like watched that was my first Sentai I watched. I'm using them as Rangers imagined by different. Oh,
okay, so it's part of like your. Okay, got it. It's part of your series.
Oh, that makes sense now. Yeah, I think you should go for it. I think to use the powers in that way. Yeah, I think to use powers that way, it would actually be kind of cool because I feel like I always brutalize his name, but Cougars or Togeigers. I feel like it was very underrated power scheme they had. The same with Mystic Force for me. Just the transformations, the different power abilities they have. I thought it was really dope, but nothing beats Gokaiger. Nothing will ever be better than. I don't care what y'all say. Nothing will ever be better than Gokaiger.
I'm definitely glad you and Adam recommended me that show as my first Sentai.
Yeah, that was my first Sentai. That was my first Sentai. Adam put me onto it. That's when the relationship with Adam started.
All right, so the final live viewer question from Marcelino Vasquez.
Hold on. Hey, Blossom, if you could hit me on Instagram at NerdMixAlpha, and I want to hear more about this. Like for real. I want to actually have a conversation about this because I'm very intrigued on what you're doing here. All right, last question.
All right. So, last one from Marcelino Vasquez. There's a new comic book series called Isom, which is part of a new comic book universe known as the Rippaverse, created by Eric July, aka Young Rippa 59. Isom is about a superhero coming out of retirement after learning his best friend has become the new head of the mafia, which made nearly $3 million, or 3 million. I assume $3 million. I don't know. He also has several spin-offs, including Alpha Core, which is a police procedural meets superhero epic. Urea, Gooden, and other projects he has planned. Writers include Chuck Dixon, the Soka sisters, and Mike Barron. If you're interested in checking out the series, then you have to know that the comics are exclusive to the Rippaverse website. But if
I
you're
was just
interested
gonna
in
say that.
checking out the series, all right,
I
I
was
might.
just I was just gonna say that. I was just gonna say, isn't that a Rippaverse comic? I've met one of the artists on this book at a con in Wisconsin. He was at a booth with one of the guys from Gorilla Publishing, one of the comic companies that we have interviewed here, like for their Kickstarters and stuff like that. So yeah, when I love the artwork that they, you know what I'm saying, that they have in their comics. And when he was explaining the story to me there, it was very, very intriguing. I even ended up buying one of the panels, like one of the panels, they did it on like a metal type thing, like to hang on the wall for one of the panels at the book that I thought it was super cool. It was like it had Isom on it, and then it's like a guy in an orange suit kind of turned, and it's like two green guys up above, like he's fighting the two. And they put that on the piece of metal, and I got it hanging on the wall right now, like next to my other comic stuff. So I'm aware of what you're checking out, and I have had interest in it since having that conversation with that person, but I haven't had the time to check it out. But it's definitely on my list. I got to finish up some manga first before I get to that, and then I'll be right there with it.
And then I got to leave the second question to you because he name drops you in the second question.
Oh Lord. Second question. Indy, I know we're all entitled to our own opinions, but how is it that you held on to your hate towards Iris and didn't shift towards hating Cecile, Allegra, Chester, Chilblain, or Keon when they are the worst and have done much more damage than Iris ever did? I even hear people who weren't fans of Iris come around to defend her because she was never on the level as bad as the other words, because any of the people who actually played the other characters weren't bad human beings. It's I I don't believe any of the characters were as badly acted. They had no problem with the way they're being written, but the issues behind the scenes when it came to Candace Patton and what she wanted for the character and stuff like that, I felt forced more of a character on screen. Um, Chilbane wasn't bad for, you know what I'm saying, what they wrote. I actually like the character. Allegra definitely wasn't bad. I loved how she started and then how she built up to who she was, even though if it was under Iris to run the company, you know what I'm saying, basically for Iris and everything. And nobody can be mad at Cecile at all, because that's a character who was only supposed to be on the show a couple of times, and that lady is an amazing actress and has been around for forever, and she did her thing on that show even with being given very little. So nah, I can give you Keon, and yeah, because for that they could have just kept the character the same. Instead of doing all that. That I blame that on the writers. So yeah, I give you Keon, but I have not hated on them because they had a lot less time to correct their situations than what Iris had. Iris was on the show the entire run of the show. A lot of these characters were only around for 2 or 3 seasons for the show. So they had a lot less time to correct the issues that Iris didn't have.
I will say this. Cecile started out as a character that I actually really enjoyed, But then the moment she started getting powers during her pregnancy, that was when her character just for me just like completely went downhill. It felt like she was just written by a completely different person. Like it was like her whole personality. She went from being the no nonsense, like not even taking shit from Joe kind of character to suddenly like she becomes kind of a goofball, which was just like, I don't know, just when that happened, when that like immediate shift with her character changed, it made me not enjoy her as much. I don't know. I kind of liked her more when she took herself a lot more seriously. Plus, and this is not her fault as an actress or even the character's fault. This is a writer's fault. They are so inconsistent on whether or not it's morally okay for her to use her powers in a situation or not. Because there was one incident where I remember she's trying to help someone who's claiming that he's innocent. And she's like, well, I can't use my powers to find out for sure because that would just be a violation. But it's like the most hypocritical thing I've ever heard from her because she does that all the time. But this one time where someone, even the person, who you're trying to defend is giving you consent to look into their head, you're refusing to do so because it's immoral, even though you've done it many other times without people's consent. So things like that in the writing with her character annoy me so much.
No, I can totally get that, but I look at her character development, her as in she's able to be less serious because of when she becomes more aware of what's going on with the Flash and him like that, and she feels protected, that she's able to let more of her personality out. She doesn't have to be as hard. I think that the thing between her and Joe is her actually coming out of her shell and lowering her shell in order to be softer. She becomes a mother, she becomes a wife, you know what I'm saying, stuff that she wasn't before, in order to, you know what I'm saying, become soft. She lets go of that hard outer shell. I just think that the development, I feel like the development of the character happened too quickly because they knew the end of the show was coming up. If it was something that happened more, if they had more time to develop the character at a slower pace and for her to become that, it would have made a little bit more sense. But I understood what they were going for. As far as Iris never annoyed you and the how the fandom looked towards it, I don't let the fandom affect my opinion, my personal opinions on how I enjoy and how I watch a show. That's what we do. We all just come here and give our opinions on what goes on. She might have been adorable. With adorable to me comes with attractive, you know what I'm saying, childlike, you know what I'm saying, different things like that. When I'm watching a show, I'm not watching a show because a woman is attractive. I'm actually watching how the actress is coming off as a character for me. And to me, she never lived up as Iris. Iris and Lois Lane to me are two different characters. You know what I'm saying? Synonymous, you know what I'm saying, in comics. Iris almost to me is a throwaway when it comes to the Flash. You can't throw Lois Lane away from Superman and have the same type of Superman. You know what I'm saying? That and as far as like Cecile becoming Virtue, that's writing. I don't have nothing to do. I don't have nothing to do with the writing of the show. All I can do is see how the actress or the actor takes the writing that is given to them and tries to present that as the best part for it. I never felt like Iris did that. She just came off as never learning, always doing the same thing. Iris, a lot of times to me, watching the show came off to me as selfish. A lot of times the show became less about Barry being the Flash and more about making sure Iris has everything she wants out of life.
I will say, and I think this was intentional, but I think there was definitely a lot of that in the first season, but I think it was intentional because like her character, she's just kind of getting into the world. She, hasn't even started her own business yet. She's still working for another company. And then, yeah, it's like that part of her that like loves Barry, but she doesn't realize it yet. And so like, even though she, is with Eddie, there's like that part of her that still wants to be with Barry that she just doesn't realize is there. So that causes her to have like some, definitely some selfish moments. I think that the one, it's definitely one of those cringe moments. Again, a purposefully cringe moment from the Clash. But I think of that. I think that scene from season 1 where it's them bowling, and Barry and Iris are just making it so weird for their dates because they're clearly like flirting with each other while they're bowling. And I think, there's a lot of scenes like that. But I also think that, with that being said, you get that from Barry's side too, because even though Barry himself is actually going out of his way to like see other women too, he's still clearly in love with Iris and is not letting that go when he's around her. So, you know, I think they both are very flawed in that sense in the first season of The Flash. And I think like that the way that's handled,
Mhm.
you know, it made them feel less annoying and just made them feel like, you know, real people with like that make real mistakes. You know what I
It
mean?
meant, to me, mistakes were. I can understand how Barry could make mistakes, but Iris just never came across to me like that. She never came. Iris never came across to me as a real character.
Okay.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't know. I don't know if it was the writing. I don't know if it's the actress. It was just nothing about her on the show that I liked, and I never understood why Barry would give up. It was other love interests that Barry had, you know what I'm saying, during the show that were better for him than, you know what I'm saying, what Iris was. And then I didn't even know if Candace Patton was going to be on the show after what happened like in 2019 with the J.R. Smith thing, with her having the affair with, you know what I'm saying, J.R. Smith, while J.R. Smith was married and all that. I didn't know she was coming back. And, you know what I'm saying, they let her come back. They washed all that under the rug. But it's just, I don't know. I just never liked the character. I felt like I feel like the other characters had limited amount of time in order to make changes for their characters, and she had how many seasons? And
9 altogether.
she had 9 seasons, and I feel never developed at all. Like she's the same character as she started in season one, other than she's now Barry's wife.
I still find it funny. You know, I think Eric Wallace is one of the most interesting showrunners. And I think it just really comes from him being a comic book writer. And so some ideas that sound really cool, like in your head, if you put it on a comic book, it's gonna most of the time be as cool as it sounds in your head. But when you put it in a TV show, not so much. So one thing I always thought was so funny is that in season 6, I think it was like that first half of season 6, when they get Iris's character like fully developed, like she has her own business and everything, and now like the two side characters that have just been introduced in the Flash are now working with her like as interns, or sorry, one's a photographer, one's a reporter for her. I'm
Mhm.
like, this is a great way to bring her character. And then like immediately after the Crisis event, they just completely decide to throw it under the rug by having her get kidnapped. And it's just like, oh, but I kind of wanted to see her do more of this. You know, it
Yeah.
kind of seems like you found a good spot for her. And then when she finally does come back to that, one of the side characters, you know, Cisco's girlfriend, ends up leaving the show. So you don't get that really cool dynamic that they established in season 6. You know, they tease us with it and then they just take it away. And it's like, why? You had such a great dynamic there that you just didn't explore.
And I really feel like they took Cisco's girlfriend away just so it wouldn't be the hype of us going, oh, she's still there. It's a reason for Cisco to come back.
Yeah.
You know, I really feel like that's happened. But yeah, they could have actually kidnapped anybody on that team and had them go through that and not been Iris.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and still been able to have that storyline.
Oh yeah, definitely. Actually, you know what would have been really interesting is if it was the Flash himself that was kidnapped. So you had like a season where you had an evil Flash, but like it took people a hell of a time to like figure that out.
But also I think people were tired of evil speedsters.
That's true. That's true.
But
That's
I'm
actually a
I'm
good
I'm
point.
sorry, it's a Flash TV show. That's all you're gonna get in the comics is evil speedsters. But I do understand what you're saying about Eric Wallace being a comic writer, because a lot of the character changes that he had is what would happen in the comic book. The Keon thing, the Cecile thing, all that stuff is stuff that would develop quickly in a comic. One day you would read the person as normal, and the next thing you know, oh, they have powers, and you wouldn't know how they got them until they decide to do a backstory 10 issues later.
Mhm.
So yeah, I can get it, and maybe that's why I was okay with it when I was reading it, because the Flash was the only show I feel like, other than Black Lightning, that was on the CW that to be watched like a comic book. Like it was, each episode felt like it was a issue of a comic.
Yeah.
So yeah, nothing against y'all, Marcelino. I love you, Marcelino. I love the fact that you come with them questions and stuff like that. But nah, my opinion on that situation is never going to change. I would actually like to see her in something. The actress Candace Patton, I would like to actually see her now in something more dramatic. In order to break off, you know what I'm saying, some of that stigma that she had playing Iris for so long. I would like to see her continue her career and see if she can see. I want to see if it was the writing or if it was her, basically. So
Mhm.
I want to see her with a better writer to see if she still comes off the same to me as she did on the Flash.
Wonder if has she done any? Nah, nothing I can see.
Wow, Cisco and Allegra were annoying. Okay, you no longer. I should ban you. I should ban you from this page for even bringing one of the best characters on that show into this and saying he was annoying. The the
Wait,
show the show went downhill after Cisco left. The Cisco Barry dynamic at times was 10 times better than the Iris Barry dynamic.
I will say, it is funny because like Chester and Cisco seemed like so similar, and yet they only had one episode together. Like the entire time, like the two of them like were part of Team Flash. They had one episode together.
Oh, you're saying Chester was a watered down version of Cisco?
Oh yeah.
I honestly don't see it. I see that they were two totally different characters.
I don't know. I would say they were similar in a lot of ways, but they definitely had. Okay, so like when it came, oh god, how do I say it? They had different personalities, but they definitely had a lot of similar like interests, though, and I think that's what made them a very cool like dynamic when they did like have the screen time together.
Yeah, it's like all nerds honestly had to be the same because they had the same interests. That to me, they were two totally different characters. Like you can have two different characters that have similar interests. The whole thing with Chester is that he was trying to live up to what Cisco was to that team, and he didn't have the knowledge of the team or the know-how at the time to be able to do that. But if you watched him, there was stuff that he would do that Cisco couldn't do, and even Cisco developed friggin' powers. So don't come at me with the Cecile power thing, because Cisco should have never had powers. Cisco should have never been Vibe on this show.
I didn't mind it. I just thought when they took it away just to give him like a suit that gives him the same powers, I just thought that was dumb.
Yeah.
Like, why even take the powers away to begin with then?
Yeah, Cecile having powers actually fits, and it fits more of an aspect that came from Joe's life, that nobody in his life will be normal. Because that was more a Joe storyline, that he was the only normal person and he would never have a sense of normal. That's why when he took the kid and left the city to go live a normal life and let her do a superhero stuff, because he just didn't want to do it. He just wanted to be normal. And now his wife isn't even normal because she has powers. That was more of him, something that he had to deal with as being a main character, stayed there so long, and him that having developed for him. Well, most people just like, oh, now another person has superpowers. Y'all just not seeing everything that Joe's going through. it was all written, you know what I'm saying, to be a certain way. Joe has to deal with being the only normal person around all these superheroes. And the funny thing is that they always had to come to him for the words of wisdom. Every single character came to him, the normal person, on what they needed to do.
Yeah. And why he was, and yet even throughout up until season 8, he was still always pretty much the mentor figure. Like I think it was like right up until I think the last time he was really like the mentor figure was that episode, the 5-part crossover, when basically he told just, oh my god, I gotta give it to the actor that played him there, because that like monologue he gave to like Barry and Iris about not letting Eobard Thawne die. I'm just like, okay, that was really good right there.
Yeah, definitely. But look, we had 2 hours and 12 minutes. We got to get up out of here because we can still
we can talk about the Flash for another 3 hours.
Yeah, me and Stuart can talk about every season of the Flash in one go, and we just be here and be like, oh, it's 2:00 the next morning. We need to go. So, but definitely, I mean, if that's something that y'all want to have Marcelino one day, you know what I'm saying, make sure that you put it on the community tab. If y'all want to just come have like some flat, like reminiscing over the Flash, talk as something, we could probably set something like that up and have a live stream. We just sit here and we just reminisce, you know what I'm saying, over the Flash. We're here for what you guys want to know, and we love to talk about it. So it works either way, man. So remember, man, we want to thank you guys for coming through, spending time with us. We know you missed Adam. Adam will be back. Don't worry about it. I'm a bad stand-in, but Adam will be back.
You're amazing.
Don't forget, for next week, submit your live viewer questions to the YouTube community tab. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You see all the social medias down there: Facebook, Twitter, Spotify, the little go green, whatever that is, Instagram and X, better known as Twitter. We're all over there. Go ahead and tell them where to find you at, Stuart.
You guys can follow me at TurboStew01 over on Instagram.
Hold up. Marcelino said I have one more question you didn't answer.
What? I thought
Uh,
we got all three of them.
yeah, give me a second. Let me pull it back up. Let me pull it back up. I'm definitely not gonna do that to you, sir.
Oh wait, that's right. There was a third. Oh wait, yeah. We just went on a long flash tangent. I forgot there was a third question there. That's
Bef-
funny.
Before and after Red Death, many people have said that Red Death should have been an evil Oliver Queen because then it would be more emotional since Barry would be forced to fight Oliver Queen. They also said it was stupid to use Batwoman because no one cares about her. Javicia Leslie was bad in the role and it would have been better off with Oliver Queen. Do you agree? Um the the character would have been better off with Batman if it was the real version of Red Death. Would it be an Oliver Queen? Nah, I don't like that because I like the storyline that Oliver had as far as like what that character was and what they did. So not Oliver. I did like the Javicia Leslie part. I just didn't like her characterization of the character itself. I felt like she should have been written different if it was going to be her. The one person I wanted it to be totally honest with you, that I felt would have been dope was Felicity.
Hmm. Wonder how that would have worked story wise.
Yeah, I felt like it should have. I feel like it should have been Felicity. Maybe Felicity that had everything taken from her. You know what I'm saying? And it being Barry's fault that you know what I'm saying Oliver died because Oliver sacrificed his life. You know what I'm saying to save Barry. That's what I would have wanted to be, and I feel like it would have gave Felicity her one off that she should have had rather than just walking into the night to you know what I'm saying like go be with Oliver type deal.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? For me, I didn't have an issue with them choosing Javicia Leslie as Red Death. In fact, I actually thought that makes sense. They were very likely unallowed. They were very likely not allowed to use Bruce Wayne because you know how DC is with their Batman. So I think they did the best in that department with what they had. Not when it comes to writing, though. I do think the way her character was written made absolutely no sense. The fact that Barry didn't know, like the fact that she said timeline and that was supposed to cover up the plot hole of Barry not knowing that the multiverse was back, even though timelines, correct me if I'm wrong, are created through time travel, and Barry hasn't been doing any time traveling. So if there were other timelines out there, that would mean there's another time traveling thread out there that Barry is clearly not dealing with. So to me, that whole backstory of her being in another timeline and the flashlight going with that made no sense to me. Even though yes, they do correct it later on in the season, it's just weird to me that none of the characters actually pointed out how weird that was. I also will say Javicia Leslie had the same problem that Grant Gustin and Melissa Benoist had, and that is the three of them are just too adorable for me to take them seriously as villains. I never once thought she was threatening, or maybe when she had the mask on, she was threatening, but when she took it off, she just wasn't threatening. Same exact thing with when Barry was an evil Flash in season 3. He's not threatening. Neither was Melissa Benoist. They're just they're great actors in their roles. They are not good villains.
Nah, and people say it should have been Oliver because Oliver was the Batman of the Arrowverse. Oliver was the Arrow, was the Green Arrow of the Arrowverse. Let's stop trying to compare it to what Batman was. The Arrowverse was based on Oliver Queen and stuff. Let's get this man credit for that being built. Oliver Queen was the Arrow, the Green Arrow of the Arrowverse, not the Batman of the Arrowverse. But I get what people are trying to say, but that's where we go. We was talking about earlier about Batman having to be involved in everything, you know what I'm saying, DC and being compared to everything, you know what I'm saying, that's going on. Red Death to be, I would have used somebody other than Red Death to start off with because Red Death is directly a Batman villain. You know what I'm saying? Like out of one of the biggest comic book, you know what I'm saying, runs of the past 10 years with Dark Knight Metal. Um, I just didn't rock. I in my review I said Javicia Leslie was bad. You know what I'm saying? In the acting, but do I put it more on the writing? You know what I'm saying? Than what it was them not giving a lot to work with, because they didn't give her a lot to work with the character. And Red Death shouldn't have been unmasked until towards the finale. But
Yeah.
you know how they want to do. They want faces to go, faces sell. Batwoman was gone, and we got Javicia Leslie, so let's show her face as much as we can, because Batwoman, because this is her farewell song, because she didn't get it, you know what I'm saying, with Batwoman. I get that. I think that's another reason they reached out to her to have her do this role, is because of how Batwoman got canceled when it off its best season that it had. So I get what that does in that department, but other than Felicity, I would have used Wally West. So it's like it's other characters that they could have used other than that, but I really feel like they were giving Javicia Leslie her goodbye, you know what I'm saying, to that world with casting her in that role. And I felt like that was done more for her and what she did with Batwoman than anything else. Because you got to remember, she took that role among a lot of controversy and made the show better than what it was. So I feel like they felt like they owed that to her. But I really do feel like Wally West or Felicity would have been better choices in that predicament. But I do credit them for giving her swan song.
Oh my gosh, now that you said Wally West is Red Death, I wish that's the direction they went in. I think they could have easily found another way to write her into the storyline. You know, really wish they went that route now.
They could have had an alternate Batwoman trying to chase down Red Death.
Yeah.
You know, they could have had a no nonsense Batwoman that wasn't letting Flash get, you know what I'm saying, like Flash get in the way, and was like, I'll kill you and him. You know what I'm saying, type deal. And they could have did it like that.
Oh my gosh, having a so not like evil, but like anti-hero Javicia Leslie as a Batwoman would have been great. And then you could have also had like Javicia Leslie's actual, like, you know, Earth Prime Batwoman be the one to talk her down and tell her, hey, killing is not the answer.
Yeah, because that to me that'd have been super dope. And you could have had Barry actually know who was under the Red Death mask, and that's why he wasn't trying to make sure that Red Death didn't get killed.
He would have been trying. He and Earth Prime Batwoman could have been the ones trying to convince other version of Batwoman not to kill Red Death. That would have been awesome.
Yeah, but nah, we just watch this. We just watch the shows. We don't write them.
Okay, sorry. So I'm gonna speed through these real quick. I just noticed Doomsday had 2 questions we didn't get to, but these are really fast questions that I can answer, so I'll get through those really fast. Do you think it's possible for Toei to make another pirate themed Sentai, or do you think it only made sense for Gokaiger since it was the anniversary season? I think they could do one. It would just have to look very different from Gokaiger. I also think since we've had a Super Sentai Cops versus Robbers, why not a Super Sentai Pirates versus Ninja theme going for it?
Don't do it. Gokaiger was peak. And anything pirate right now is going to be related to One Piece. So like stay away from it for a little bit.
Fair. But that's how I see it. I think that Super Sentai Pirates versus Ninjas do it.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, whenever the Gokaigers are about to morph into the Go Rangers, why do you think they always say, let's use that, and emphasize the word that when referring to Go Rangers? And to that, I say that is something I actually never noticed. But I have no idea.
Because Go Rangers is supposed to be OP. And you know what I'm saying? It's that boss. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not, and it looks weird. It doesn't. It's one of them things where it doesn't look like it fits, but it does, and it's just OP. So like, yes, use that, because if you notice, anytime they did it, it went like Goofy 2 type stuff. So it's like something that
Oh yeah, okay. So Go Rangers was the OG. Okay, yeah.
So like So to me, when they said that, I felt like it was paying homage.
I think also it was probably like build up too.
Yeah.
Like like in Spaceballs, when you first see Dark Helmet using like the power and you don't know what it is, you just know everyone's terrified of it, and you're like, no, not that. And he's like, yes, that.
Mhm.
So I think it's just like that. It's just about build up really more than anything else. But I think that'll do it though for the live viewer questions.
Yeah, definitely, man. Thanks for y'all for them questions, man. Thank you, Marcelino. Thank everybody for tuning in. We appreciate y'all. Go ahead and tell them how to get in touch with you again, Stuart.
Oh yeah, TurboStew01 over on Instagram. No longer on Twitter or X or whatever you guys want to call it.
Yeah, y'all can find me everywhere at Nerd Mix Alpha. Make sure you check it out. I got new music on Spotify. Indie Uchiha. I just dropped 3 tracks around
Ooh.
Christmas. Go check them out. My album Blame It on Rap Music will be out this summer. It's one of 2 that I have coming out, and it will be the last full-length albums that I ever put out. So make sure you guys go support those. And yeah, support us right here at APlus Opinions, and I guess keep it APlus.
Keep it A+, everyone.
Definitely. See you guys later.